After a rainy early morning here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, it has continued to rain. Lightning strikes in the distance. And there is a weather delay. As you see, the Maryland Terrapins are here at 3-1. Set to take on the 4-1 Wolverines of 15th ranked Michigan. The lights are on and nobody's home in the big house. You're watching the Big Ten on ABC, presented by Walmart. And a happy homecoming to you, Brian Greasy.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back home.
So many people showed up for the homecoming.
Yes. We can see on the scoreboard that they will not open the gates until an hour before kick. They have yet to open the gates for all the fans, the 100,000+ that will fill the stadium today. So, therefore, we are over an hour away from the potential for a kickoff. Have you been through a situation like this? What's it like for the players and the coaches, you think?
You know, this isn't a big deal for players. The big deal is when you start the game and then stop and have a delay because they've been warmed up and then they go back in the locker room and then they get cold. But when you have a delay at the start of the game, these kids, whether they were sitting at the hotel or sitting in the locker room, really doesn't make that much of a difference for them. So I expect them, once they say go, then they want to finish this game for sure.
They are scheduled for a night game next week. Here when Wisconsin comes to town. We certainly hope we have an afternoon game at some point here today. And when we do get to play football, we'll see Michigan off the tough loss, the opener at Notre Dame. We know how good the Irish have been all season. They're the #1 ranked defense in the country against a Maryland team that had one hiccup against Temple, but Matt Canada very pleased with everything this program's been through to get to this point here today.
I'm really excited about this matchup. This is not going to be a walkover for Michigan. There's no question about that. Certainly Michigan is playing better. We know how good, as you said, Notre Dame is. The defense is really leading them, but they're going to face a unique test in the offense of Maryland today. Running the football is what Matt Canada wants to do, and Anthony McFarland and Ty Johnson have done it as good as any team in the country. They're number 11th in the country rushing the football, so it's going to be a test for the Wolverines.
And Maryland is fun when they run the football. A lot to watch for, a lot of motion, a lot of window dressing, if you will. Also, in terms of the timeline, maybe a half hour away from the players taking the field, maybe about an hour and 15 away from kickoff. There is a 3-hour window to play this. There is some more bad weather coming in the future immediately after that. Can Kevin Nagandi tap dance? We'll find out on the other side of this break.
Here in studio, Kevin Nagandi alongside Mac Brown and Jonathan Velma as we are waiting. Stand by, Michigan, Maryland, as we are approaching 30 minutes away from kickoff in that contest, dealing with a lightning delay as they had in Ann Arbor. It's good to see, though, that the players are on the field ready to go and they're letting people come in. When you look at this matchup, Michigan's really hard to figure out. They come back and they beat Northwestern. Is this just the team that's just figuring out the offense with Shea Patterson as the season continues?
I think absolutely. Defensive coordinator Don Brown does as good a job as anybody in the country. They shut down people. They had a little trouble with Winbush because they didn't think he could throw it early in the first game with Notre Dame. But Shea Patterson wasn't ready for the offense. He hadn't played in a game yet early in the year. They're getting better every week. You better watch Michigan now. I think this team is as much improved from the first of the year till now as any team in the country.
Mac, I agree. They are getting better every week as long as they don't lose their identity. Their identity is to run the ball, and you mentioned how good that Michigan defense is. They stick to that formula and then let Shea Patterson grow into that passing game. They will be a very, very good team and a very, very tough opponent down the road. But I think they lost sight of who they were early on, tried to pass the ball too much, force Shea Patterson into positions that he shouldn't have been in. And then defensively, they weren't ready to have so many possessions because, you know, you go 3 and out, turn the ball over. All of a sudden, defense gets tired or they get frustrated, and then they let the big one get over the top. So now that they've gotten back to the run game, they're playing good defense. They're a good team.
Yeah, and I agree, but I think the other thing is that Shea Patterson's using his feet better.
Yeah.
In the second half against Northwestern, he made some key plays instead of forcing the ball downfield or throwing an incompletion by running. So that's an added dimension Michigan hadn't had since Jim's been there.
Yeah, Michigan's defense ranking first in the FBS in yards per game. And, you know, a lot of the attention, I started the conversation with Shea Patterson because that was the hype coming in. But Karan Higdon's the guy. He's the guy in the offense. When he's healthy, you see this ball go down the football field because of him, right?
Yeah, it's because of him, and it frankly goes back to Harbaugh's days at Stanford, Harbaugh's days at San Fran. You run the ball first. He has a very good running back, a very good offensive line. Let's keep feeding him and then get the quarterback.
Is this team good enough to go head-to-head against Ohio State right now? Or they still need a few more weeks leading into that matchup?
I don't think they're ready yet, but if they keep improving, that's going to be one great game at the end of the year.
I think they're ready.
Yeah?
I'll tell you why. They can play defense. Dwayne Haskins struggled against a defense that puts pressure on him, gets him to move a little bit, and then he becomes inaccurate. Let him be inaccurate against his Michigan defense. Those are turnovers, and then they can run the ball. As long as they can run the ball, they'll be okay.
They just got to get better on offense, and as Jonathan said, keep their identity. If you can't run the ball, you're not going to beat Ohio State.
We'll see if they can stick with it. Keep you up to date, of course, with Michigan as we have a 1:10 scheduled kickoff against Maryland at the Big House, and we got some pictures coming in. Wolverines suited up, ready for the turfs. You will not see Rashawn Gary in this game. The star for the Wolverines in that defense, number 3 on McShay's recent big board. He is not playing. He's in street clothes. He hurt his shoulder at the end of the Northwestern game.
Well, and Jonathan talked earlier about getting your time clock ready. These guys know now we are 10 minutes away or 20 minutes or 21 minutes away from playing the game, so you're back on schedule. Everything else is out of your mind. It's back to football.
Some rivalry games. We saw Texas and Oklahoma. We got one coming up later on this afternoon. FSU, Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, ready to host Maryland. Your game on ABC just over 10 minutes away. 8th all-time meeting between the two programs. Michigan leads the series 6-1, but Maryland's lone win coming in 2014 in Ann Arbor, and that was Brady Hoke's final game, a home game as a Wolverine head coach.
Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's a nasty, rainy morning this morning, pushing back the start time of this noon game to 1:10 Eastern time. They only opened the gates due to the lightning in the neighborhood some 40 minutes ago as the 15th-ranked Wolverines of Michigan exit the locker room. As the Big House starts to fill up, they'll have better than 110,000 fans on hand as usual. And even the sun is trying to come out. Better late than never. We'll play college football here today. Nice of Michigan to schedule their homecoming around Brian Griese's schedule.
That's very convenient. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, welcome home, Brian Griese. So we look at this. Hey, off that tough start at Notre Dame, Michigan will have their toughest test since then today against Maryland.
I don't think there's any question. We found out now that Notre Dame's a pretty good football team, but Michigan is gaining more and more confidence each and every week. This will be the toughest test since that game, and I think it's because this Maryland team is playing with a great resolve, a running game that's averaging 250-plus yards a game. That's top 10 in the country, and a defense that's flying around to the football.
Michigan had to come back from down 17 a week ago at Northwestern. It's their second biggest road comeback ever. Shea Patterson had to lead them down the field. But as for that defense, the top-ranked defense in the country, there is news on that. Here's a dry Todd McShay.
Dry for now, Steve. Listen, unfortunately, Rashawn Gary, the star defensive end for Michigan, is not going to play. He got injury to his shoulder last week. He was in street clothes before the game, so this means Chase Winovich, the other star defensive end on the opposite side, is going to have to step up. I think he's one of the most improved players in the country this year. Thought he was a day 3 draft pick. He's worked his way into the first couple of rounds. He's going to have to play a big role against this Maryland offense today.
All right, Todd. I think Winovich has a pay-per-view fight in his future tonight. Big Conor McGregor fan. Actually, McGregor's a big fan of Winovich as well. Again, you can see the bright sunshine hitting off the maize and blue. And they will pack the Big House, as always, for this Big Ten showdown. 1 loss Wolverines, 1 loss Terrapins. The opening kick from Ann Arbor after this. Back at the Big House in Ann Arbor, set for Michigan and Maryland. Prior to the break, Todd McShay told you about Rashawn Gary not playing. And now, Grease, we find out in the commercial break after warming up, no Chris Evans for the offense.
Yeah, he's been struggling with injury the last couple of weeks and came out here. He was dressed for warm-ups and went back in the locker room and changed out again. Just not ready to go yet. So we'll see a little bit more of True Wilson, the junior tailback.
Karan Higdon had 30 carries last week. Wilson had 1, and that was it. They ran the ball 31 times, and the load falling on Higdon. As you look at head coach Jim Harbaugh, they've started slowly on the road, Grease, but have been just fine here at home. Looking for a little more consistency against a tough team put in a tough situation. That's interim head coach Matt Canada. He said he is proud of his team, proud of his players, everything they have been through. We will document that as the afternoon progresses.
Yeah, I think when I put these guys on tape, you see these players playing with a resolve that's a little bit different than most teams, and you can understand why.
What they can't understand why is the loss to Temple, 35-14. Maryland's been very good in every other game, including the opener. They continue to beat Texas in those openers. Michigan won the toss, and they will receive. Ambry Thomas is back. Keep in mind, no player in Michigan history has ever returned 2 kickoffs for a touchdown in the same season. Thomas had the 99-yard kick return against Notre Dame in the opener. Joseph Petrino will kick it off the tee from the 35, and again, better late than never. We are underway from Ann Arbor. Brad Hawkins will return it, and he slips down at the 15-yard line. Time for Shea Patterson. Raised a Michigan fan about an hour away in Ohio. Took 2 seasons at Ole Miss from to find his way back to the Big House. Was the 2nd highest ranked quarterback in his recruiting class. And the numbers at Ole Miss, a couple seasons, nearly 61% completions. And he said if not for Ole Miss being slapped with another year of bowl ban, he would not have transferred. But he's learned and is learning a whole lot here from Jim Harbaugh and company at Michigan. A pro-style offense on 1st down and 10 from the 15. And on the ground, get used to a big load of Karan Higdon down the sideline. Knocked out at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, Steve, I'm really looking forward to seeing Shea Patterson and how his growth continues in this offense. It's a completely different offense than the one he ran at Ole Miss. Jim Harbaugh's a more of a pro-style system. It's been a growth period, a learning period for both Jim Harbaugh and Shea Patterson as to what he likes to do, what he does well, and fitting his skill set into this Jim Harbaugh offense.
18 yards on 1st down and 10 for Higdon. And it buys him much better field position now. Here's Patterson throwing on the run and completing the Ben Mason. Hurdles a defender, and he's taken down shy of midfield. Ben Mason, everybody. Gain of 15.
6'3", 254-pound fullback. He doesn't catch the ball a whole lot, but you want to start fast. We talked about that, not starting fast against Notre Dame and Northwestern. This will get the sideline energized.
Darnell Savage was not expecting that from the fullback. A couple of 1st down plays consecutively as Michigan just shy of midfield. On the ground, it's Higdon. Back to the line of scrimmage, decked by Trey Watson.
And right off the bat, Steve, you see this different look. A lot of shotgun, and we're seeing perimeter runs. Still the naked game, which certainly Jim Harbaugh likes, but you see this team is getting better and better as the season goes on, and I think a lot of that has to do with just the quarterback feeling more and more comfortable.
And so much is put on the quarterback, but you pointed out the offensive line was a big part of the issue a year ago and has been. Higdon's the bottom of your screen. Now out to the left. And Patterson throwing and able to complete to Grant Perry. Todd.
Well, today the matchup has got to be Karan Higdon, who you guys have talked about early on. 30 carries a week ago. He's become the workhorse for this Michigan offense. They've got to really set the tempo along the line of scrimmage. And I think that linebackers, Trey Watson, Isaiah Davis, they're going to be off the line. You know where they are. Top 2 tacklers on this team combined for 71 stops through the first 4 games.
Yeah, Todd, this defense for Maryland is fast. They fly to the football. We'll see if they have something here in a short third down situation.
3rd down and 3, and Michigan will take a timeout.
Charge timeout.
3
Michigan,
seconds
they're first
on the play
It'll
clock.
be a 30-second timeout.
Referee is Mike Cannon today.
Look at Shea Patterson and some of the improvements. We talked a little bit about it. Talked about improving his timing. You know, you come into this style of system, a lot of things, the reads have to be exact. And so working from the pocket, anticipating throws is the big thing, right? Anticipating, not waiting for Nico Collins to come out of his break, but anticipating where he's going to be. That ball was a little underthrown, but still a big completion downfield. As you watch Shea Patterson today, watch his feet. That tells you all you need to know as a quarterback. Are his feet calm or are they jittery? When he's on and plays well and understands the offense, his feet are calm. When he gets in trouble, they get jittery.
On 3rd down and 3. Patterson slipped down as he handed the football off to Higdon, and Jesse Anabonum made the stop. It's going to be 4th down.
Yeah, this defense for Maryland, we talked about the speed, and they like to be aggressive. Their defensive coordinator, Andy Butte, bringing a blitz off the edge, gets a tackle for loss, and forces a punt.
We'll watch for the slippery conditions again. It rained all morning, really stopping just over an hour ago. Will Hart is back to punt. He has been lights out for Michigan. Tavon Jacobs is back to receive for Maryland. And the boot from Hart, who's averaging 64 yards. There is a flag down as the ball bounces into the end zone. Imagine averaging 64 yards per punt. Just doesn't have enough punt opportunities to be among the nation's leaders.
Kicking team player number 5 ran out of bounds during the kick and came back in. It's a 5-yard penalty. Will be added on to the end of the kick. 1st down.
What's the biggest difference between Matt Canada coming to Maryland is his offense. You're going to see some unique offense and sets. You're going to see unbalanced lines, Steve. They're going to put 5 guys up there, but they're going to switch them around, make the defense think they're going to run the ball to the strength of that unbalanced line, and then use jet sweep to accentuate it. Look at the reaction of the linebackers. They have to respect this kind of an offensive attack, but then they slip in that inside zone on the weak side, and it's a home run. It's a house call. This is a unique offense. It's simple in its principles, but they're going to dress it up with window dressing today.
It's a 45-yard punt. Net's just 20. And here's Kasim Hill to throw on 1st down. Overshot his intended target, Jarvis Davenport. And the quarterback is down.
Yeah, Devin Bush, the linebacker, came through and hit Kasim Hill late. When you roll out as a quarterback, you're exposed. You're trying to throw that ball down the field, and it's tough on linebackers because they're running as fast as they possibly can to contain on the outside, and Devin Bush just a little bit late.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 10. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Boy, the other thing you need to look at there, right, is using the crown of the helmet and then hitting him in the head or neck area. Either one of those would be potential personal foul and an ejection for Devin Bush. I think he was just on the edge, Steve.
Michigan's already had 3 targeting penalties called against them this season. Penalties have been an issue for both teams here. Michigan is the most penalized team in the Big Ten. Only Nebraska has been flagged more often average per game in Maryland. We talked to Don Brown, the defensive coordinator. He said, look, for the first time in my career, and he's been coaching 40 years, I don't know what's what in terms of the targeting penalty. But no such word of targeting right now. Tavon Fleet Davis is in the backfield now. after the 15-yard mark. It's Brian Cobbs, the ball carrier. I beg your pardon, that's Anthony McFarland.
Yep, Anthony McFarland, you're going to see him play more in this game today. They're without Lorenzo Harrison and Jake Funk, two guys that have been getting some carries this year, so you're going to see a lot more of McFarland. He is explosive as the running back.
There's some of that motion. They shift. And they'll shift again.
I was going to say, there's no tackle in that formation.
Get used to this, people. We will, too. And in the end, it's just a straight handoff to McFarland.
Well, this is third down. This is the point, though, Steve, right? Is they're going to run their base offense, which is an inside zone run, but they're going to dress it up. They don't want Michigan just to tee off. Matt Canada knows this defense is too good. I think Canada's going to take a timeout now.
Charge timeout, Maryland. They're first. This will be a 30-second timeout.
So we're 4 minutes in. Each team has already used a timeout. We'll have a third down and 3. We asked Matt Canada about having the bye coming into this game. How much does that help your offense? He said, we've got the simplest offense in America. We're not adding a whole lot, maybe just different looks.
Well, that last play was a perfect example, right? You can tell young kids, hey, go line up wherever you want in the formation, right? It doesn't matter, but ultimately, after we shift twice, we're going to end up in this formation and run our base play. So it puts a lot of pressure on the defense and not a lot of pressure on your young kids on offense.
Yeah, the Michigan defense, and is that tricky to practice against? Like, is the scout team able to show that look all week?
No, not the shifts and motions. With Don Brown, when talking with him this week, he said, we don't want to be chasing ghosts. We don't want to be trying to anticipate everything. We're going to line up. Our base defense is to play tight man-to-man coverage and get after your quarterback. So if you do that, I don't think you need to worry about all the shifts and motions.
Here's Hill, good protection, steps up and throws, complete to DJ Turner for first down yardage and then some. Out to the 35, Tyree Cannell makes the stop, gain of 18 on the play.
Great job by this offensive line in protection. It's one of the best pass rushing defenses in college football. Now you got 5 offensive linemen up there for the first time that are healthy, Todd. So I expect them to do well in this football game.
Yeah, no Rashawn Gary, which was a huge detriment to Michigan. You got one side with Winovich with no Gary on the opposite side, and 2 offensive tackles that are finally in the game together, and Derwin Gray and Damian Prince, both going to be NFL draft picks in April.
First down. Here's Hill. Deflected and nearly intercepted. It's Kennel nearly came up with the play off the fingertips of Darryl Jones.
And this comes from the pressure on the quarterback. Kasim Hill's just not comfortable setting his feet. He's going backwards, which leads to the inaccurate throw. And that's exactly what Don Brown wants to do. Find creative ways to get pressure on your quarterback, and it begins to affect your accuracy down the field.
Second down and 10. Michigan 35. They put the backup quarterback in. Tyrell Pigram checks in. Pigram was the starter 1 year ago. Pigram will hand it off to Ty Johnson. Can't turn the corner. Stopped by Devin Gill from behind.
Speed at linebacker is the secret weapon for Don Brown. And Devin Gill and Devin Bush have it in spades. Watch these 2 guys run. I mean, it's sideline to sideline, and Ty Johnson's just not going to outrun him.
Hill will check back in. It's third down and 13.
Where you got to be smart managing the game, right? And Kasim Hill has been good managing the game for Matt Canada so far. You don't need to force anything. You got a field goal attempt if you gain 6 or 7 yards.
Hill back in there to throw. Under pressure. Can't have the sack, and he takes it. Back at the 45-yard line. Michael Dwumfor was the first player there.
And this is exactly what Don Brown wants to do. He's going to bring pressure, and in this red zone fringe area, he wants to get you out of field goal range. So you have to understand that as a quarterback and anticipate these situations and know, listen, they're going to come after me. Get rid of the ball at the very least.
Wade Lees is back to punt from his own 41. Donovan People-Jones. Michigan got some good pressure there. Peoples-Jones will let it bounce into the end zone. Michigan had 6 sacks a week ago, and their come-from-behind win at Northwestern. Able to pressure the quarterback, and it's a critical sack that knocks Maryland out of field goal position.
College football on ABC is presented by Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. And in part by Domino's and Coca-Cola. Hot Domino's pizza and ice cold Coca-Cola. Order this perfect combination for game day.
It's been a wild weather day already here in Ann Arbor, and it's not just the heavy rain and the lightning and thunder. It is 25 degrees warmer today than it was yesterday.
I don't know what you're talking about. It never rains in Michigan Stadium.
Didn't they just say that at LSU,
Yes,
too?
they did.
A week ago? Ask McShay if it rained last week.
We showed up this morning. It felt like a night game at noon.
Dark skies. Again, you see the temperature 70 degrees. We'll get up to 80 here today on this first Saturday in October. Higdon's the top of your screen. See if Patterson looks that way, goes across the middle. Able to complete to Zach Gentry, the tight end, for first down yardage, gain of 15.
So far, we haven't seen Shea Patterson under center. We have seen him in the gun. They've been running horizontal most of the time. That time they expand the formation with regular personnel, which I love that for quarterbacks because it makes the reads really easy. You can see man or zone much easier when you expand a fullback or a tight end outside of the formation.
You've seen him under center. You've seen him in a huddle, which is somewhat new for him. And the play calling aspect as well. Here's Patterson off the fake, plenty of time. Throwing and can't hook up with Donovan Peoples-Jones. Rayvon Davis had the coverage for Maryland.
Yeah, Rayvon Davis is waving his finger over there. I think he got a jersey full of Donovan Peoples-Jones on the outside. Before that, looked like Peoples-Jones tried to get away with a push-off. You're going to take a couple of these shots down the field. And when you do, just make sure that you throw the ball down the field and allow these receivers to go get it.
Second down and 10. That's Higdon to Patterson's right. Maryland rushing 4. Higdon will look to, rather, Patterson will look to get out of there and then just throw it away. How about the play calling, Reese, for Shea Patterson? He said he's used to a one-word play call, and here at Michigan it's about 15. It's a little more complex.
It's pretty amazing that this marriage actually happened, right? I mean, I get it. You know, Shea Patterson is a very talented athlete, but he's a very different style of athlete than Jim Harbaugh has had in this kind of a system. You think back to the Andrew Lucks of the world, more sedentary quarterbacks in the pocket. So it's going to take some time, and the verbiage probably has been the biggest hurdle for Shea Patterson. The talent is there.
He's always been the best athlete on the field, whatever field it's been, whatever sport. On 3rd and 10, zips one across the middle. And it is Grant Perry. That was a beautiful ball right there, on time and on the money.
And this is what will make your coach have confidence in you, that, you know, you call a couple of plays on 1st and 2nd down, you take a shot down the field, they're incomplete, you come back on 3rd and long, and you make the right read, the smart read, to dump it down for the 1st down.
Gain of 12 on that play. 2 tight ends in the game for the Wolverines. Scoreless, 7:45 left in the first quarter. And under center, Patterson will hand off to Higdon right out to the 50-yard line. Todd.
I think a big thing to watch for today and throughout the season for Michigan is the wide receivers. Are they able to separate? We saw last week Nico Collins, really, I think they had a career game. Big, long wide receiver who's got that deep speed. But the rest of this group kind of comes up short, really underwhelming. Don't forget, Tariq Black out with a broken foot from August. They had Kekoa Crawford and Eddie McDoom both transferred too.
Yeah, it's been a problem, and when we asked Pep Hamilton about it, he brings up that he needs to use the tight ends more, so that kind of tells you where they are, Tom.
Here's Higdon, the ball carrier. Flag down. Looked like Antoine Brooks jumped offside.
Offside. Defense number 25. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
And we can talk about scheme all day long, right? Whether it's a spread or whether it's the pro style. Really, all it comes down to is your playmakers. What kind of playmakers do you have? And you see what was lost for Michigan at that receiver position, and it's affected them this year.
Tariq Black, as Todd mentioned, this potentially in a big weekend for Black. He was supposed to get a visit from the specialist doctor they wanted him to see. Broke his bone in his right foot back in August. He was Michigan's leading receiver a year ago through the first 3 games, and then injured his left foot. So they'd love to have Tariq Black. They are not counting him out for the season. Of course, the 4-game redshirt would come into play as well. Here's Higdon, first down and much more. Out to the 33-yard line of Maryland. It's a gain of 12.
We're talking about receivers and tight ends and Shea Patterson throwing the football, but this is Michigan, and they want to come off the football and run the ball with Karan Higdon. I think they found this year that he can be the bell cow. As Todd mentioned earlier, 30 carries a week ago, over 115 yards. That's where this offense needs to start.
Higdon has 5 carries for 34 yards so far today. Higdon on the ground, his 6th carry. You don't see a running back. You see it in the NFL too. You don't see it in the NFL or college getting 30 carries a game. That's a heavy load.
Yeah. Well, part of it is because of the injury to Chris Evans too. You know, they don't feel real confident, and there's not a whole lot of depth on that running back roster. So he's going to get a lot more carries today as well.
Chris Evans missing his 3rd consecutive game. 2nd and 6. Knocked right back down. The pass batted right back into the face of Patterson by Antoine Brooks, who was onside that time.
Antoine Brooks is a heck of a football player. They ask him to do quite a bit in this defense. He's the 2nd leading tackler returning. He'll be on the edge all day today. He's responsible for contain. He's got contain on Patterson here, but does a nice job of getting his hands up and making that a difficult throw.
Suffered a gruesome injury in high school. Talked about quitting football. Talked it over with his family. And he said he's back to doing what he loves best. He had a change of heart. And he might be the best defensive player on this Maryland squad. There's 3rd and 6. Patterson to throw. McCune had to go up to get it. Antoine Brooks had the coverage, and he's spotted short of the marker. He's going to bring up a 4th down.
I think this is going to be an easy decision for Jim Harbaugh to go for it here on the 24-yard line. We're going to bring in the big dogs. Ben Mason, 254 pounds. This is where you establish the physical nature of this game early.
Ben Mason goes by the nickname of Bench. That gives you an idea of what he's like in the workroom.
There he is.
Workout. Looks like a full yard. Give it to the first man through Mason, and I don't think he got there. Excellent job by this Maryland defense. Trey Watson stuffing the hole.
That's a good way to quiet the crowd here. Look at Trey Watson coming through. It's just a good read. They weren't fooled. I think they've studied the tape. They know that Ben Mason gets a carry here and there, especially in short yardage situations, and they were up to the task.
And so Maryland will take over on downs and start from their own 24.
That's what good defense is about. You can give up yards in between the 20s, but when it comes time on 3rd and 4th down, crunch time situations in red zone, if you can keep teams out of the end zone from scoring points, that's what it's all about. I never look at the yardage comparisons with defense. You look at points, and that's what it's all about.
You good with the gamble? Not going for the easy field goal there?
That was an easy decision. Not well executed there.
We remain scoreless in the first, under 5 to play. And more fun from the Maryland offense. Here's Kassim Hill, and he's going to be dragged down from behind. It's Khaleke Hudson on a sack.
Second sack of this football game for Khaleke Hudson. Here he is right here. He's kind of on the outside, and he's just reading it. Once he sees play action, he's unaccounted for. He comes to the quarterback. Both these teams need to account for the edges. Antoine Brooks for Maryland and Khaleke Hudson for Michigan.
That's Jabril Pepper's old position. Don Brown loves that player. Thinks he should be the most versatile player on the field.
The Viper.
2nd and 14. Keep it on the ground. It's Fleet Davis. Devin Bush made the stop. 3rd down.
This is a decision that Matt Canada is going to have to make throughout the course of this game. When he elects to throw the ball on 1st down off that hard play action, he's putting himself behind in the down and distance. This is a run-first football team. They are not equipped to throw the ball 40 times a game to win, so they have to stay ahead of the chains, and now you bring up a 3rd and 8, which is tough.
This is where Michigan wants them, at 3rd and 4, and then some on top of that. 3rd and 8.
Chase Winovich time.
Straight drop. And the throw from Hill down the sideline. Just too much. Too strong for Tavon Jacobs. And it'll bring up a 4th down.
Tavon Jacobs has assumed the role that DJ Moore played a year ago. He caught 80 balls in this offense, and he's their most explosive wide receiver. Great route. I love the thought. Just got to give him a chance to make a play.
So Maryland can't do anything with that great defensive stand. They'll punt the ball back to Michigan. Wade Lees, the 2nd oldest player in college football. Rugby-style punter. Got it away. There is a flag down as Donovan Peoples-Jones will let it bounce out of bounds. It's a 39-yard punt if it stands. Lees, the punter, is 30 years old. He's the 2nd oldest player in college football. Colorado kicker James Stefano is the only player older.
Holding. Kicking team number 50. Penalty occurred during the kick. 10 yards will be added on to the end of the kick. It'll be 1st down, Michigan. Timeout.
Well, if you're just joining us, you might think we should be at halftime. Weather delay. We started about 70 minutes late from the big house. 3 minutes to play. Here in the 1st quarter. The Michigan defense has its say. Scoreless.
The Connors.
Taco Bell is celebrating student sections and passionate fans like these by awarding the best student section of the year. The Michigan Wolverines student section already on the national watch list. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. Here's Shea Patterson to throw as all sorts of time and has a wide open sack. Gentry. Darnell Savage was there, but not until it was too late.
You get Karan Higdon involved in the last drive, and then you go hard play action, and this is what you don't have the kind of receivers that you need to make plays down the field. You got to get your tight end involved, and Gentry, the former quarterback at 6'8", 260 pounds, is a great big target for Patterson.
31 yards there. Gentry had 3 catches at Northwestern last week, all resulting in a 1st down, and he's back at it here. From the Maryland 24. Back to Higdon, and he's dropped by Trey Watson. Picked the 3 on the play.
Well, we've mentioned Trey Watson's name a couple of times. He's a grad transfer from Illinois. He's an outstanding football player, 240 pounds, 6'2", and you add him into this linebacking crew with Antoine Brooks and Jesse Annabonum off the edge. They have been getting pressure on offenses. They've had 2 drives where they've given up some yards early. Then they get a stop when it matters on 3rd down.
It's kind of where they were on that 4th and 1 play. On 2nd and 7. Here's Patterson. Throwing it out of bounds. One off a player's hand and deflected away. Trey Watson is part of that defense. They're trying to replace Jermaine Carter, who took off for the NFL, playing on Sundays for the Carolina Panthers, the heart and soul of that defense, and he's a tough man to replace.
Certainly, and those linebackers are the core of this defense, but also Darnell Savage, number 4 from the safety position, starting his 30th game for the Terrapins. Kind of acts like a bonus linebacker at 200 pounds in the box.
He's what you call a dude. Dude has become a big part of the football terminology these days.
He's down around the line of scrimmage right now.
It's a high compliment. On 3rd and 7. Patterson throws. McCune, can he get to the sticks? He can't. Antoine Brooks came up to make sure of it. And then Brooks gets up gingerly.
That's good defense right there. You force a 3rd and long, and you force the ball to be thrown in the flat. Brooks comes up and makes a great play to force a field goal attempt, but hopefully he isn't going to be sacrificed with an injury.
He'll go back and take a seat. While Brooks is being attended to, let's check in for the first time this afternoon. Here's Cassidy Hubbard.
Thanks, Lees. Now let's take a look at a performance above brought to you by Jersey Mike's Red River Showdown. Kyler Murray with his 2nd TD pass of the day. This one to a wide open CeeDee Lamb. Texas, though, has a 24-17 halftime lead. Back to you guys.
Whole lot of eyes on that, and a whole lot of fried food as well. Well, this spring, Maryland tragically lost their teammate Jordan McNair. He died after collapsing during an off-season conditioning workout, and his teammates have done their best to carry on, determined to play this season in his honor. Suffered a heart stroke and passed away on August the 11th. Head coach DJ Durkin was placed on administrative leave. Strength coach Rick Court resigned just days later. That same week, President Wallace Lowe commissioned an external review of the death. And then 2 weeks ago, that report was released. Maryland has committed to all of the recommendations of that report. And yet there is still one more report on the culture of Maryland football still to come. And after receiving those results, the university will then decide the future of coach DJ Durkin. Quinn Nordine from 34 yards away. And that allows Michigan the first score. This is a tricky subject, obviously. This goes back a long time already now to the spring. And Matt Canada was named the interim head coach, replacing DJ Durkin. And he talked about the emotions. There's 110 players.
Yeah. And
everybody grieves, and everybody grieves differently. And the Maryland team, the whole program, has had to deal with this. And actually, is really proud of where they are at this point.
Head coaches in college football anymore, they have to be father figures. There's no way around it. Cannot just be about football. And Matt Canada didn't expect to be in this situation, but he is. And I think he's handled it as well as he possibly could. And he talks about grief, as you mentioned, is universal, right? We all have to deal with it at some point in life. And I think this team has a unique resolve to it that's different than I think other teams that we see around, and you can understand why.
And we're going to find out about that so-called toxic culture that people have been talking about when it comes to Maryland. The 8-person committee that is overseeing this latest investigation, they could present to the Maryland Board of Regents coming up on the 19th of this month. Jake Moody kicks it away. Ty Johnson will give it a go from the goal line. Down the sideline. Ty Johnson down the sideline. And he will go all the way. And what Maryland fans want to hear, 2 words, no flags, 98 yards to the house in the big house.
You have 2 explosive players on this offense for Maryland, and in special teams, Ty Johnson and Anthony McFarland. This is well blocked. They get the kick out block, and then poor contain for Michigan. The kicker goes down, and then Avery Thomas, number 1. Great effort, but the stiff arm at the end gets Johnson into the end zone.
Not the first time for Ty Johnson, the senior from Cumberland, Maryland. He had a 100-yard kick return at Ohio State last year. Here it's a 98-yard return for the score and the Maryland lead. Wow. Extra point is through from Joseph Petrino, who has yet to miss on the season. And with 70 seconds left in this first quarter, place has gone silent. 7-3 Maryland. Tonight on ABC, Notre Dame will take on Virginia Tech. Everything's better at night in Blacksburg. Coverage kicks off at 8 Eastern on ABC. That'll be wild there. You can watch that game and every game on the ESPN app with ESPN Plus. Start your free trial of ESPN Plus today.
Let's go back and take another look at this,
let's do
return. See 31 here, Aguabe gets a nice block on the kicker. Moody and Todd, that's nothing but speed to the end zone.
It is, and you know, if you're going to go on the road, play a team that has more talent and more depth. Even Matt Canada said it, the head coach, interim head coach for Maryland, we've got to win the turnover battle, as every coach says, and then special teams, we got to get some big plays. When you're playing the #1 defense in the nation, it really helps when you can get some points on special teams.
No question.
Todd Johnson, well, so this is how I did it. You see, he's trying to explain it to his guys. I was running away from some people. Ambry Thomas, who was trying to chase him down, who has a 99-yard kick return of his own on this season. He'll be dropped at the 25. There's a lot of speed on the field today.
Don't you think after watching Ambry Thomas run 120 yards down the field to try to catch, you might want to have somebody else return the kick on the next play?
He's young.
Probably winded.
He's young. He's fine. Ambry Thomas, the sophomore from Detroit. It was after his 99-yard kick return against Notre Dame that apparently Coach Harbaugh said to him, hey, want to play some offense too?
Yeah, play whatever you need to.
Defense, offense. 7-3. The Terps on the board. On first down, here's Higdon for a couple. Antoine Brooks back in the game and makes the stop. Feels like he's been in on every tackle.
Yeah, and I think Michigan offensively came into this game saying, you know what, Maryland hasn't played this style of offense yet this year. We're just going to come off the football and pound between the tackles. That's what they wanted to establish. The problem is that Maryland, while they're not the biggest defense out there, they are so fast. It's hard to keep on blocks for Michigan.
Got Higdon bottom of your screen now. Patterson feeling that lonely feeling. Now he has some company in the backfield. And he'll get out, throw on the run, and it is tipped and intercepted. Picked off by Darnell Savage. And the turnover now. Savage staying on his feet. And a flag comes in late after the interception. He was very close to the sideline. Antoine Brooks got a piece of that and deflected in the Savage's hands.
Antoine Brooks was on the ground, on the field last series. They were looking at his knee. He got up, ran off the field, and he's back out there and makes a huge play for Maryland defensively, getting a hand on that football. And then you have your Shea Patterson in this situation, backed up after you've had a big play, turn momentum. You're just not worth the risk here to throw that ball late.
During the return, holding, intercepting team number 2. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
That's
In
Raymond
addition,
Davis.
there's a sideline warning on the Maryland bench.
Throwing the sideline warning for good measure. A lot going on, a lot to unpack there, Grease.
Well, yeah, it's just, here's Brooks here. He's the one that's going to get the tip. But after you extend this play, and this is great that Shea Patterson has this athletic ability to do this, but right here you got a decision to make. Covered. You're going to throw that ball. You're going to try to fit it down the field. You're backed up there on your own 20-yard line, and I get it. You got a 6'8" tight end, and you're just trying to give him an opportunity. But credit Maryland's defense. They are aggressive. They are fast. And now they've changed this football game.
Savage did a good job never stepping out of bounds, even before the football popped into his hands. Off the turnover. Come the Terps at midfield, already leading 7-3. Final 13 seconds of play in the first quarter. It's Ty Johnson on the straight handoff for 5.
That play made there by Kwity Paye, the sophomore defensive end, who's playing for the injured Rashawn Gary.
1 quarter in the books. And the Fighting Van Pelts are leading the Wolverines. It's 7-3.
I'll probably have a text from him.
Very special teams. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Despite being outgained by Michigan 132-21, Maryland, they lead by 4. They're back in Wolverines territory as we open up quarter number 2. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Todd McShay. delayed start, about 70 minutes. All sorts of weather issues, heavy rain, lightning, thunder. And now Todd McShay reports it's hot on the field. On 2nd and 6. It's Ty Johnson. He just sparked the Maryland offense with that 98-yard kick return.
I make one simple joke to Tom Luginbill on Twitter, and 2 weeks in a row, it's been a nightmare for weather.
Well, Michigan's got to get a timeout. Maryland was trying to snap the football. Michigan tried to substitute, but there was no huddle. And there would have been a penalty had Michigan not called the timeout. They got caught off guard.
Charge timeout, Michigan. Their second. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Only 10 people on the field.
It's not a bad strategy if you're Matt Canada to try to get them caught when they're not ready. Because when they're ready, they are dominant. This is not one of the best defenses in the country for nothing. The pressure packages are endless from Don Brown. He'll bring guys off the edge. This time it's Kalik Hudson off one side and Glasgow another, and that frees up a one-on-one block for Dwumfor, who's their internal pass rush specialist. They'll walk Devin Bush to the edge, bring him to get pressure. Almost got the turnover, and then Kalik Hudson again. If you get in 3rd and 3 or 4 plus, Don Brown, he likes to say, I'm letting the Huns go over the wall.
You get the idea. He said in preparing for this, it's a little like preparing for the triple option.
Yeah.
The way Maryland runs around.
Yeah, assignment football.
3rd down and 4. Hill to throw, and he was just throwing it away. Sails it into the Michigan bench, and it'll bring up a 4th down.
And that's exactly what Don Brown's talking about. 3rd and 4 plus. He knows you have to throw the football, so he's going to play tight man-to-man coverage, and then he's going to bring one more rusher than you have blockers. That's his whole philosophy.
Think about this offense for Maryland. They ran 6 plays their first possession, and they've gone 3 and out the other 2. The kick return is the story. Now, Michigan will have an opportunity. Lees is back to punt for the 3rd time. Donovan Peoples-Jones back for Michigan. And Peoples-Jones will call for the fair catch, and it will be down inside the 5. Ty Johnson doing it all for Maryland. He downs that ball inside the 5-yard line.
Great sandwich there from Lees. I mean, that ball backed up perfectly.
39-yard punt, and you can't do it any better.
Well, this is how they teach that end-over-end punt. They come down, and they're looking for it to back up.
Johnson's had a good 16 minutes of football.
Well, not only is that, why is that so big? Because the last time Michigan was backed up inside their 20, Shea Patterson made a decision and tried to force a football and got it intercepted. So keep the pressure on him.
Three tight ends in for Michigan. Ben Mason in the house as well. And that is Mason. Out to the 10-yard line. Isaiah Davis brought him down. Today's Aflac trivia question. Who's lost more homecoming games as a Michigan head coach? Bo Schembechler or Jim Harbaugh? Wow. I didn't know Bo lost the game at all, let alone a homecoming game.
You know what? I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to throw me off there. I'm going to go with Bo.
Right. It would seem too obvious, right?
It would seem.
Yeah. We'll give you that answer shortly. Michigan has won 7 straight homecoming games, 19 of 23, and 43 of the last 50 homecoming games here in Ann Arbor. 2nd down and 4. It's an outside pressure. Michigan runs away from that pressure with Karan Higdon. Our question, who's lost more homecoming games? Is Michigan head coach Bo Schembechler or Jim Harbaugh? And the answer is... it is a trick question. It's a tie.
What?
Zeros.
Oh,
I told you Bo never lost. 21-0.
Wow.
Coach Harbaugh 3-0 for these homecoming games. I bet Michigan is never the homecoming opponent, right?
Yeah, probably
not. You would not be that guy, right? Yeah. It works the other way. Maryland is the homecoming opponent. Maybe not for long. 3rd down and 1. On the ground. Higdon has pushed down yardage. Dragged down by Jordan Mosley.
You have a quarterback that makes a questionable decision on the last drive, and you get backed up inside your own 5. What's your answer? Run the football. Get Karan Higdon between the tackles. Allow this offensive line to come off, Todd, and start the road great.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm standing right here in the end zone right behind him, and just watching this Michigan offensive line, you can see the confidence growing. They are establishing dominance at the line of scrimmage, and that's what you want to see from this group.
Higdon just over 5 yards per carry on his 10 carries so far. They'll go Higdon again. This Michigan offensive line has been certainly disciplined, as I say that. Michigan's offensive line here in game number 6, Dries, they've only been penalized 3 times. They've had 1 holding penalty all season, and that was on John Runyon. The other 2 penalties were procedure penalties, but that speaks to the discipline and the coaching. And again, Michigan penalties have been a problem for the Wolverines, just not on the offensive line.
You see Ben Bredesen there, big number 74. He's a captain, which is unique as a junior. Not a lot of juniors elected captain in Michigan, but he is the unquestioned leader of that offensive line up front.
2nd down and 7. Here's Patterson to throw. Has all sorts of time. Airs it out down the field. Nico Collins. And a flag comes in. 2 flags fly. As Collins hauled it in with Tino Ellis on him, along with Darnell Savage.
What really stood out to me standing right behind him is how patient Shea Patterson was. He had protection. He didn't have to run out of the pocket. And as a result of just being patient and staying inside, he was able to wait for his receiver to get open down the field. Grease.
Defense number 7. Penalties decline. Result of the play, the first down.
Yeah, and it's great protection, Todd. That's what gave him that time, and this ball was a little bit underthrown, but great job by Nico Collins. I've been impressed with him this season. He's really taken over the number 1 receiving role, despite the fact that everybody wants to talk about Donovan Peoples-Jones. This man right here is their number 1 target.
It's a 51-yard pass play. Collins, who's a smooth route runner, depending upon how you say that, leads the team in receiving yards, and he'll add to that. Route, tomato. They're going to throw it. It's Perry, the throw. Underthrown for Sean McCune. Grant Perry makes the throw.
They work on this all week in practice. Here he's going to come around the reverse, and here's the tight end that you work all week in practice. And you throw it perfectly in practice, and then you get out here and you just pull the string. Would have been an easy touchdown for McCune. Great job of him coming back and making the catch.
Perry's going to want that back.
There's a reason he's playing receiver.
Not everybody can play quarterback at Michigan. 1st down and 10. Hand off Higdon. Running backwards. Pounds it inside the 10-yard line.
Boy, what an impressive drive here from Michigan. Started inside their 5. They were physical, running the football with Karan Higdon. Then Jim Harbaugh decides to take a shot, explosive play, which they need. Nico Collins, a little trickery in the red zone fringe, and it doesn't end in a touchdown. But now I expect him to go back to that physical Karan Higdon to get in the end zone.
8th play of the drive upcoming. They have moved down the field, a 51-yarder. To Collins, the big play. It is Higdon. Down to the 5. Trey Watson brought him down. Brings up a 3rd down and short.
This Maryland defense has been up to the task so far in this first half. Every time Michigan has gotten some momentum offensively and got into the red zone, they've come up with a stop on the money down. Do they have one more in them?
3 tight ends in for the Wolverines. All to the right. Patterson under center. Higdon behind him. It is Higdon. 1st down, and he's down to the 1-yard line of Maryland. 1st and goal.
This is all Cesar Ruiz, Bredesen on Wenu right here in the middle. Take a look at the push that they get. Double team on the 3 technique. They drive that defensive tackle back 3 yards. Reason for the success on that 3rd and short.
Mason in front of Higdon. 1st and goal. is Higdon. Wow, he was thumped in the middle. He was bounced back the other way.
Trey Watson, here he is right here. Look, he's in a sprinter stance, Steve. He knows wherever this ball's going, I'm sprinting to that gap. He gets there just in time, and Ron Higdon, they've been introduced officially.
And he played it perfectly, lowering the shoulder, not the helmet. Mason behind Patterson. Give it to the big fella, and he's able to crash into the end zone. He runs through Trey Watson that time. Touchdown, Michigan. Five-yard drive, 11 plays in 6 minutes. The 51-yard pass play to Nico Collins. The big play. And Nordine puts it through.
What an impressive answer from Michigan. They turned the football over on the previous drive. Then they're backed up inside their 5-yard line. They get the big play down the field to Collins, and then nothing but physical Ben Mason for the touchdown.
Well, if you just saw those numbers, you would think Michigan was blowing the doors off Maryland. Instead, it's just a 3-point game. 3 Michigan players have accounted for more yards than all the Terps combined. Michigan's run 32 plays to Maryland's 12. Ty Johnson is back. He might return every kick ever. 98-yard kickoff return the last time he had the opportunity. See if he gets another crack at it. He will not. Ben Mason voted the toughest player on Michigan's team. There's some of that toughness.
All right, Lee, you want to play linebacker in the Big Ten?
Not against him, I don't.
Try to take this guy on, huh? Then he comes over, takes his helmet off. You know you're scared, Levy.
Yeah. I'd like to be a cover corner in that kind of in that scenario. And think he likes football? Yeah. And he likes hitting people. Grease, just a second ago, you were somewhat offended that I said how Michigan could be somebody else's homecoming opponent. Could never happen. 2008, Michigan was Penn State's homecoming opponent, and the Nittany Lions won by a score of 46-17. You must have conveniently forgotten that.
Of course, Ben Boomer gave you that.
I believe it's pronounced Boom. Boom. I have it misspelled in my phone still after all these years. Little drip of blood. Think that's going to bother him? I do not think so. Leaking a little bit of oil. And a odd time for a Maryland timeout with 8:21 to go here in the half, trailing by 3.
You know, Maryland has to get Anthony McFarland involved in this game. He really hasn't been involved. He got 1 touch, but he's their explosive back. And I get Ty Johnson as kind of the stalwart, but McFarland brings a different element, and right now he's dotting the diamond formation.
And they do give it to McFarland, making some people miss, staying on his feet. There's a good example of that. Grease right there out to the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 15.
This kid is an electric player. He's got a different gear than anybody else on this Maryland team, and he's strong in the hole. Not easy to get on the ground. He has the speed on the back end. He was originally committed to Miami, but decided to stay home and go to the home school at Maryland, and Matt Canada's been the beneficiary.
Alabama wanted a piece of him as well. Highly recruited. He's the next big thing for this Maryland offense. It's Ty Johnson this time, and he is met immediately by the Michigan defense.
This is interesting to watch. You know, Matt Canada, you just put up those numbers, right? They haven't done anything offensively. So what does Matt Canada do? He comes out with a completely different formation, this diamond formation, which he's used from time to time in his career. And he's going to force Don Brown and this Michigan defense to react to a completely different look on offense.
Tyrell Pickram is in there. Again, he'll stay in for this play. Pigram's got the ball. Flag flies, able to get it out to Tavon Fleet Davis. And we'll check the marker.
Holding. Offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Sean Christie, the senior from Medford, New York. Everybody healthy on this offensive line from Maryland. This is one of the most experienced offensive lines in the country.
These penalties really hurt Maryland, more so than many other offenses, just because they're not an accomplished passing team. They want to run the football. So when they get in 2nd and 20, really difficult for them to overcome.
Pigram stays in there. And a handoff. A yard on the play. It's Tavon Fleet Davis.
Michael Dwumfor is down on the field, the defensive tackle for Michigan. He is their specialist in third down situation, rushing inside. See if he's all right.
Now with a 2 for $6 deal, pick from the new crispy chicken tenders.
College football presented by Walmart on ABC is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. And life. Experience the power of Pacific.
Michael Dwumfor is still down on the field, and they've brought the cart out to help get him to the locker room and to the medical attention. You see all the entire Michigan team is gathered on the field now.
Here he is right here. Yeah, he didn't get rolled up on it. That looks like Achilles. You know, when you step back like that and your reaction is, you know, like you get shot from behind, that's typically what that injury is, and that's a devastating injury for Michael Dwumfor. He has come on this year, Steve. Now, he's been kind of in the rotation a little bit the past couple of years, but he's really found his niche as a smaller defensive tackle that lines up in the middle of the formation, and he's got such great athletic ability that he's able to use his size to get around offensive linemen and affect the quarterback. And he typically gets double teamed because, you know, they have Rashawn Gary and Chase Winovich on the outside, so he's really been impactful. Already had a sack in this game.
The junior from Wayne, New Jersey. And as Dwumfor gets a show of support from his teammates, the Maryland players on the field as well, sending their best wishes to Dwumfor. As we send it back for an update, and back to Cassidy Hubbard.
Thanks, Steve. Certainly wishing the best for him. Now for the all-state mayhem moment. Number 20 Michigan State trailing Northwestern 14-6. Sparty with a little mayhem to get back in at a double reverse to Felton Davis, and he takes off 45 yards for a touchdown. They win for 2, didn't get it. So Michigan State still down 2 in the third. Steve, Brian, Todd, back to you.
All right, just down the road in the state of Michigan. Dwumfor seen shaking his head. It's a nice applause from the home crowd as he is carted off. Third down and 19. Pigram's still in there. Able to throw and hit Jarvis Davenport well short of the marker. Tyree Kennell made the stop. Fourth down.
Watch Tyree Kennell. He's got rocket boosters in him. Watch him close on this. He reads Pigram thinking he's going to run the football, so he reacts to come up to get Pigram, and then it sees the crossing route and just speed forces this fourth down punt.
Wade Lees is standing at his own 20. Gets it in the air. It's Peoples-Jones from the 18. And he'll be wrestled down at the 36-yard line. 46-yard punt, 17 on the return. Tomorrow, kick off your day with NFL Countdown. Patrick Mahomes and Alex Rodriguez will get together. They'll discuss how A-Rod's influence helped the young Mahomes reach the big leagues. And then tonight, Fighting Irish take on the Hokies. Night game at Lane Stadium. Coverage kicks off at 8 right here on ABC.
I think McShay got the best of us with the Mahomes-Kansas City game last week. So, you know, he was talking a lot of trash during the week, and our Broncos went down.
How about Mahomes?
That's awfully big of you, Bruce.
Hey, how about Mahomes?
Yeah, it was legit.
Wow. And fun to watch. Worth the price of admission. Michigan with the lead and the football. Karan Higdon is dropped by Isaiah Davis.
You know, Shea Patterson's trying to do a little bit of a similar change that Pat Mahomes did. Coming from Texas Tech to the NFL, he had to learn the pro-style offense, and Andy Reid has integrated some of those spread concepts and things that he does well. But Patterson is kind of in the same boat. He's getting a crash course on how to run this Jim Harbaugh-style offense.
This is the first Michigan touch since that 95-yard touchdown drive. Into the ball carrier again. See, it looks like he's going to come up just short of the marker. Could be 3rd and 1. Isaiah Davis again. Another stop. It's like 3rd down and 1. Ball spotted just north of the Michigan 45.
Where's Ben Mason? Why isn't he in the game?
There he is.
Okay.
42 checks in.
Any short yardage situation. You know, he's trying to replace Khalid Hill, who is an excellent football player, and Henry Poggi as well. Those were the two fullbacks / tight ends they had a year ago, and it looks like they found the heir apparent.
You know, Trey Watson's looking for Ben Mason. There's 3rd and 1. And they do find each other. Mason gets just enough for the first down. You talked about the touchdowns. Mason had 3 rushing touchdowns in the first half against Nebraska. He's the first Michigan player to do that since Denard Robinson in 2011 against San Diego State, and he's leaking some more oil at this point.
You know, I played with one of the best fullbacks to ever play the game, in Mike Allstott. And he was an exceptional athlete, but he was built kind of the same way that Ben Mason is. I'm not comparing Ben Mason to the A-Train, but certainly he has some elements that can be very effective in this offense.
True Wilson, top of your screen now. And he's the only player besides Higdon to get a carry a week ago. But Patterson is throwing and completing to Zach Gentry.
Really good sign here that Shea Patterson has shaken off that decision interception earlier, and he's starting to make pinpoint throws. This is very well done. The placement on this ball in front of Gentry away from Watson, that's as good as you can throw it.
Patterson 9 of 14 for 146 yards. Does have the one blemish. 2nd and 4 across midfield. Give it to True Wilson. And you hear the crowd chants of True. Everybody asks, he's the favorite player. He's the favorite guy walking around Michigan. The coaches just love him. And able to contribute, the junior from Warren, Michigan. 3rd down and 1 upcoming. Don't tell me you want to see Ben Mason here. Oh, we got to see if they figured out the cut. Actually have 2 fullbacks in the game. Jared Wangler is in there along with Ben Mason. Look at this.
Oh, now they're going to feature him. Now he's dotting the I with a fullback in front.
And we're huddling. What is going on in college football? It is Mason, the battering ram for the first down. Mason came in with just 11 carries on the season. That's his 6th rush so far. We're not even at halftime.
Star is born.
Very good. New movie coming out. Two minutes left in the half. Set up the screen. And Gentry got some blockers in front of him. Zach Gentry dropped down by Trey Watson at the 35 of Maryland.
Love that play call there. It's a 2-minute situation here before the end of the half, and you cross the 50-yard line. And I love this play call, the screen to the tight end. Gentry, he's not the most fleet of foot at 6'8", but gets the job done, gets a gain of 6.
I don't know if Gentry's a coach's kid, but his grandfather, Bill, legendary New Mexico high school football coach. Guess that qualifies. Patterson fakes the quick throw. Wide open, had a man! And threw it behind Donovan Peoples-Jones. Had him, and then he didn't.
Yeah, this is the fake screen, and then Peoples-Jones gets down the field. They're going to fake the screen here, and Peoples-Jones is going to come down. He needed to stay wider, I think, Levy, because they got a free safety back here, so you got to stay wide. Shea Patterson knows that he's got to keep that ball wide. It looks like an egregious miss from Shea Patterson, but I think both of those guys are responsible for Peoples-Jones keeping it wide, because when you pump that screen, the safety's going to go over the top.
3rd and 4. On the ground, change it up. It's Higdon. And he has first down yardage. Anna Bonham made the stop. Speaking of tackles, Trey Watson already double-digit tackles in this game as we approach halftime.
Interesting here. Michigan needs to have a little bit more urgency. They're under 1 minute left in the half.
One timeout.
You got man-to-man coverage. You might take a shot with Nico Collins at the bottom of the screen.
Patterson looking for Peoples-Jones out of bounds. He caught the football out of bounds. Rashad Lewis on the coverage.
It's a perfect time to take a shot. They decide to go one-on-one on the outside with Peoples-Jones. He beats off the line of scrimmage easy. They just got to know where you are on the field. He catches the ball, Steve.
Oh.
His foot hits the pylon, which by definition is out of bounds.
Close. 2nd and 10. But you're right, clock a factor with 46 seconds left in the half. Michigan has 1 timeout left.
Got man-to-man again. I take another shot with Nico Collins.
That's Ronnie Bell top of your screen. Michigan's going to run the football with Higdon. Going to bring up a 3rd and short. Tackle number 11 for Trey Watson.
You got to go. You're kind of conceding a field goal here. If you get a first down, then I think you can clock it.
3rd and 3. Patterson thrown across his body. It's caught. Touchdown. Ronnie Bell, the true freshman from Kansas City. As Patterson took a hit, Savage and Lewis collided. The two defenders for the Terps ran into each other, and feeling the effect of that Michigan touchdown. Again, there is a flag down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 9 with targeting. The touchdown counts. The play is under further review.
And there's an official down. That's the umpire.
Here's Byron Cowart right here. That's who's going to hit Patterson late after this ball is released. Look at that ball. That ball could have been intercepted, almost intercepted by Maryland in the secondary. Shea Patterson was fortunate that Ronnie Bell came in front of that safety.
After review, there was not a foul for targeting on the play. The personal foul for roughing the passer will be enforced on the kickoff. Touchdown counts.
And Ronnie Bell has the first touchdown for him. I beg your pardon, 2nd touchdown of his young career. Extra point is good. Byron Cowart will continue to play. 17-7 Michigan. Back in Ann Arbor, 16 seconds until halftime. The umpire, Ken Zolmansky, is hit as the play continued, and Zolmansky was taken off the field. Hopefully he'll be okay when we start the 3rd quarter.
The umpire, those are the toughest guys on the field for these officials, man. They're right in the middle of the fray.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. I mean, they get hit in the legs. They get shoulder pads and helmets for the face. Just hope Ken's got all those chiclets.
Michigan will kick it into the crowd. That last touchdown, 12 plays, 64 yards, 5 minutes.
Yeah, Steve, I think Darnell Savage, the safety, thought he had an interception. You go back and take a look right here at this point. This is Savage right here. Look at him looking at Shea Patterson. Shea Patterson's looking back this way, and Savage comes off of his drop and thinks he's going to catch this football. And just before he does, Ronnie Bell comes through, and Michigan gets a touchdown. Very fortunate that that ball was not intercepted.
Maryland's going to take a knee here. Ronnie Bell's a neat story out of Kansas City, Missouri. Top 3 Missouri high school history in receiving yards, touchdowns with NFLers Dorial Green Beckham and Jeremy Maclin. I mean, that's impressive company. Stay tuned for the State Farm halftime report with Kevin Nagandi, Matt Brown, and Jonathan Vilma. Maryland will have the football to start the second half, trailing by 10. You're watching the Big Ten on ABC. Presented by Walmart. Big House readying for the second half with 15th ranked Michigan leading Maryland 17-7. We take a look at our first half stats brought to you by Charles Schwab. I mean, you didn't know what the score was. You would think Michigan is blowing Maryland out of the building, but that is not the case.
Well, you took a look at this rushing team for Maryland coming in, ranked 10th in the country, and Michigan's held them to 20 yards rushing. That, to me, is the story in the game. Even with the turnover that Shea Patterson had, that defense was able to rise up.
Yes, full marks for Michigan, the #1 defense in the country, and Maryland has had everything go their way so far, Grease, right? They haven't turned it over. They forced a turnover and the big special teams play.
Right, the big kickoff return for a touchdown. That just goes to show you how much this defense has dominated for Michigan, and their offense has been efficient. They've made plays down the field when they've had them. The big post play to Nico Collins led to a touchdown.
Yep, 95-yard drive led by Shea Patterson was the big answer. We are down 1 official, we should point out. Our umpire, Ken Zelmansky, is in concussion protocol. And the alternate, Vince Winters, will take his spot. Down to the field, here's Todd.
I'm in a state of shock, to be honest with you guys. I just talked to a happy Coach Harbaugh. And then, first of all, no coach is ever happy after halftime, and especially our good friend Jim. So he just said, listen, we're doing a lot of things right. Third downs, we're really happy with the way we're converting. It's keeping us on the field. Love how our defense is playing. He kind of looked around. He's like, we just need to keep it up.
He doesn't look happy anymore, Todd.
No.
It took one play.
That lasted long.
Well, maybe it was after your conversation with him. Again, Michigan having a slow start. Again, that's not something new.
Yeah.
They trailed 17-0. Got off to a bit of a slow start here again today, but seem to have figured things out.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, kicking team number 8. 15-yard penalty, first down Maryland. That is number 8's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
All right. Understandable why he's not happy. It's not the way you want to start the second half of the football game. Go down on a kickoff, get an unsportsmanlike call on you.
What could have bothered you so much? You just came out of the locker room at halftime. What could you be so angry about to start the second half?
Michigan has 2 number 8s. It's either Ronnie Bell or Drew Singleton.
Well, they have 3 number 4s last year. 3 number 10s last year. College football. We love it. Bring it on as we open up third quarter action. Maryland will stay with what they do best, Anthony McFarland. And there is a flag down. Sure, why wouldn't there be?
Illegal formation, offense. 5 players lined up in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Maryland's going to get back in this football game. They're only 10 points down. They're going to have to run the football. You see what they typically do on the ground in this Matt Canada system. They have just not been able to get anything going here against this defense. But if they want to compete in this second half, they're going to have to get Anthony McFarland going.
1st and 15. Give it to the first man through. Tayon Fleet Davis. That is their favorite running play for Maryland. Jet sweep action, and sometimes they give it to the player, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that very much. And I thought we'd see actually more of it in this game because without Rashawn Gary playing the edge defensive end for Michigan, I felt like they would use that a little bit more. But that's only the second time we've seen that play.
See, Avery Edwards might have jumped.
False start. Offense. Number 82. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, this is the one risk that Matt Canada runs with all the shifts and motions, that it's very easy with so much going on to get these illegal procedure penalties. And I know that you practice it as much as you possibly can during the course of the week, but
and the bye week coming in.
Yeah, so many moving parts. You're going to have more procedure penalties.
See the 7th penalty against Maryland here this afternoon. 2nd down and 15. On the ground, it is McFarland. And barely able to turn the corner. There's another flag. Looks like holding on the offense.
Personal foul, face mask. Offense, number 70. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Boy, they got Sean Christie for a hold earlier in the game, and now they're getting him for a personal foul, face mask. And like I said, we've said this 3 times already, drives for Maryland, time of possession and number of plays have all been killed by these penalties by the offensive line, and they're just not built to recoup from 2nd and 20, 2nd and 30.
You're not kidding. 2nd and 30. Again, some of this full marks to that Michigan defense. And some of this is on the Maryland offense. On the ground, McFarland can't get back to the line of scrimmage. Maryland's actually been penalized more yards on offense, more yards than they have on offense today.
Well, you come on the road and you wanted to run the football. Chase Winovich is happy because Michigan hasn't had a holding call against them all season. Don Brown was really hot about that this week. He says, how do we have the amount of sacks that we had in the last 2 games against Big Ten opponents and not have one holding call?
3rd and 30. What do you call here, Doctor?
Run it and punt.
Oh, looks like they might have wanted to run that. And Hill will be dropped. Josh Uche.
Well, that series for Maryland could not have gone any worse. The procedure penalties, miscommunication here on 3rd down. Lucky that wasn't a fumble. They're lucky to be able to punt.
Loss of 6. It's 4th and 36. And again, you know you're getting the football to start the second half. Figure there's some time to discuss what we're going to do at halftime. And you want to come out of the locker room looking better than that. Peoples-Jones is back at his own 40. Little stutter step. And then he'll be dragged down by Ty Johnson, Mr. Do-Everything from Maryland. Take a look at our Pacific Life Game Summary.
And here's Ty Johnson with his kick return for a touchdown. At this point, Maryland's feeling pretty good. A 7-0 lead. Special team score, but it's been all Michigan since. Offensively, they've been their new star is born. Ben Mason, the fullback, with a touchdown, and then this great throwing catch with Ronnie Bell and Shea Patterson right before halftime to take the 10-point lead.
Wolverines football. They start in excellent field position at their own 44-yard line. 1st down and 10. And the give is to Higdon, and he'll be dropped for a loss. Jesse Annabonum makes the stop. Higdon has gone over 2,000 yards rushing for his career. That's 23rd in Michigan history, passing Chuck Heater, who's currently a Maryland assistant coach. So there's the tie-in there between these two schools.
Well, and that's his 20th carry of this game.
He's on pace
for 40. Thank you. Or maybe 39.
People love the on pace. 2nd and 13. See how Michigan plays this. Patterson to throw. Maryland only rushing 3, and it's Gentry. Finds a seam in that defense and makes the grab. That's his 5th catch. Plenty of first down yardage there.
Really well done. They expand the formation, get into an empty. That isolates Zach Gentry in the zone. It's just a 3-deep zone, Todd, and he finds the hole.
A good job by Patterson there, too. We've seen some times where he's not great with his eyes, maneuvering and negotiating with safeties there. He does a good job of sticking with his eyes on the safety before he comes back and knew the receiver would be there right at the right spot.
77 receiving yards so far for Gentry. True Wilson in the game now for Michigan. They'll fake it to him. Patterson has some pressure, throws it down at a man. It is Peoples-Jones for the touchdown. There is a flag down, however. Back at the 45, we'll check the marker. A beauty of a ball thrown there by Shea Patterson.
They're going to get Michigan for a hold.
Holding. Offense, number 13. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
That's True Wilson, the halfback. After they faked that ball to him. Let's take a look. You see him there. Fake to him, and then he's going to be blocking on the edge. And boy, that's I think that's a bad call.
Well, if you think that's a bad call, I remember last week with Michigan trailing 17-13 in the 4th quarter. There was a different kind of holding call.
That was a phantom call, too, yeah.
Then one against Michigan. We'll show it to you right after this play.
Yeah, against another halfback.
1st and 20. Patterson under pressure. Able to scoot away. Shea throwing on the run. And completing, it's Gentry. His 6th catch. This was the play last week. Karan Higdon got called for holding. Now, you tell me if you see the hold. There's 22. He doesn't have the football. He is tackled as Patterson runs for 20. Jim Harbaugh called it the worst call in the history of college football.
Yeah, you say that with a smile on your face, but Jim Harbaugh was definitely not smiling. Hasn't smiled much of the week because of that call. And again, that call on Wilson, I think, was equally as bad.
Not equally. At least there was some contact there. Harbaugh said the Big Ten told him this week that there was a mistake, the old after-the-fact apology, which coaches love so much. But this does come in a victory. It's Higdon again. Higdon last year came up 6 yards shy of 1,000, trying to be the first Michigan player to rush for 1,000 yards in a season since Fitzgerald Toussaint in 2011. Higdon really bothered him all off-season. Yeah. He said, I'm getting 6 yards on my first carry this year, no matter what. He wound up running for 8, and he's back on his way. Actually, his season was well on his way to 1,000, had an ankle injury against this Maryland team, and that really hurt him the rest of the way. We have whistles.
The previous play is under review.
And you could hear, it sounds like they're going to look for targeting on the prior play. That excellent ABC ESPN audio from the field.
Be nice if they told us what they were reviewing, right?
We'll see what they're looking at. There's the Gentry catch.
We're more than just $7.99 large two-topping pizza delivered.
After review, number 13 for Maryland committed a targeting foul. He is disqualified from the game. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down, Michigan.
I can tell you our old colleague Ray Lewis isn't going to be happy about that. That's Rashad Lewis. That's Ray Lewis' son. Sophomore from Orlando has been ejected from the game for targeting, and it comes early in the third quarter, meaning he'll miss the first half of next week's game. Maryland will host Rutgers. Michigan looking for more with Karan Higdon. And he's dropped at the 10-yard line by Kieran Howard.
Yeah, that Rashad Lewis hit, you just got to keep your head up. You can't come down at any point in a football game with the crown of your helmet. I mean, that's the definition textbook. Not only did he have used the crown of his helmet, but then he also hit Karan Higdon in the head.
Rashad switching from the wide receiver position to the defensive back after he transferred. Still trying to figure things out on the defensive end. Tough to be Ray Lewis's kid and play defense. Man, I know you had a similar thing, the whole greasy name at quarterback. I get that. And that's got to be pretty similar. Talking about a couple of Hall of Fame dads. We have some more dirty laundry on the field.
Like Cesar Ruiz, the center, with a false snap. Ball dribbled back.
Snap infraction. Offense. Number 51. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Ruiz, the center, played at IMG Academy with Shea Patterson, so they're certainly familiar with each other.
Well, they're trying to have him pull there. When you have a center try to pull, you got to get the snap done first. You can't go too fast, and I think that's what happened to him.
Second down and 12. Patterson able to get out of there. Shows the good footwork, and he'll fake the pass and then run out of bounds.
It's a better decision for Shea Patterson not to try to force that football, but you got to know how you're protected. You're going to get Watson right off the edge, unblocked. And you got to know that as a quarterback. You either have him protected or you know that you have to handle that. And Patterson was lucky he didn't get sacked.
Take a look at the umpire. Ken Zelmansky is back in the game. Those umpires, Grease, they're tough. And we're not making light. They've got families, too, that are watching at home. It's not just the families of players and coaches, family of the officials. So Ken's family can take that good news that he's back in the game and on the field. Patterson throwing heavy collision. Nico Collins and Rayvon Davis.
Rayvon Davis came up and tried to get a hit on Nico Collins, but he's the one that ended up getting the brunt of that. Nico Collins a little bit shaken up, coming off. He's an impressive young man, 6'4", 220 pounds. And he has really stepped up for Michigan.
See that Maryland defense gets the hole. They get the hold, and Nordine puts it through, hold them to a field goal from 31 yards away. 20-7, Wolverines, homecoming weekend in Ann Arbor.
College football presented by Walmart on ABC is brought to you by Mazda. Feel alive.
I knew about Gerald Ford and James Earl Jones. I did not know about Madonna.
You didn't know about Madonna?
And Madonna's daughter, apparently, Lourdes, attended Michigan as well. She stayed in the dorm room to avoid the press. Anybody that was famous Michigan alums we've run into today?
Today?
Yeah.
You know, Les Miles? Go with that?
Did you bump into Les today?
No, I didn't run into Les today. No. But he's a big Dos Equis guy now, you know.
Good at it.
You know, commercials and all that kind of good stuff. Still eating grass. He was my offensive line coach when I was here.
But you should be welcomed back every single time with like balloons and a parade, Grease. Every single time you hop off the bus here in Ann Arbor. Fumble at the goal line. Ty Johnson will have to run it out and be brought back. What a mess for Maryland on that one play. So Ty Johnson has, to his credit, a 98-yard return and a 1-yard return. And he was lucky to get that 1 yard.
I'm not sure why Ty Johnson even attempted to field that, because, you know, when you kick that ball in the corner, it's a coffin corner. They don't want you to run it out when it's in the middle of the field, so probably should have never even attempted to run that football out. It looked like it did hit the plane of the goal line and came out of the end zone, so good thing he got out of the end zone.
Maryland trying to turn their afternoon around. Officially, that'll go as a 2-yard return. Trying to find some breathing room. And they get a little bit to work with. Here's Cassidy.
Thanks, Steve. DirecTV, more for your college football thing. Upset alerts blaring in East Lansing. Clayton Thorson to Cameron Green, giving the Wildcats a 22-19 lead. They just scored again, so it's 28-19 with under 3 to play in the fourth. Steve, Brian, Todd, back to you.
Clayton Thorson, speaking to him, Don Brown couldn't have been more complimentary about the Northwestern quarterback from a week ago. 2nd down and 8. Maryland on the ground with Fleet Davis. Nothing fleet about it. And there are penalty markers down.
You see Nico Collins, the receiver for Michigan, who took a hit on that last slant route, running back into the locker room to get checked out.
Holding. Offense number 64. Penalties declined. Brings up 3rd down.
And if you're just joining us, no Rashawn Gary today for that Michigan defense. No Chris Evans for that Michigan offense. The Gary one really has to be a concern. He was injured in each of the last 2 games, but able to come back, and today doesn't even dress out. Evans has missed the last 3 games now. There's 3rd and 9. On the ground and nothing doing. Not even close. Anthony McFarland. Uche made the stop. And the Terps will be punting from their own end zone.
Yeah, Josh Uche made 2 sacks in last week's game against Northwestern. He put the final nail in the coffin at the end. They're excited about him. 6'3", 240-pound junior out of Columbus High School in Miami. And he's getting some extended snaps because of that injury to Gary.
Wearing out Wade Lee's, his 6th punt of the afternoon. Still got 5.5 to play in the 3rd. Peoples-Jones will call for the fair catch at the plus 43. Todd.
This Michigan offense is coming back on the field. I've been so impressed just down here on the field watching this group control the line of scrimmage, the offensive line. From John Runyon to Ben Bredesen, Cesar Ruiz, and here you see Michael Onwenu and Juwan Michelle Bailey. I mean, these guys are really dominating the line of scrimmage, and that just opened things up, obviously, for Karan Higdon and the rest of these running backs. They've been great on 3rd downs. They've been great when they need them in the run game, and it's really been an impressive performance from a group that's been maligned this year.
Well, Todd, they've been maligned for a number of years here in Ann Arbor, so they understand what's being said about them outside of this program.
Patterson. Down to Higdon, checked it down, makes one-man miss, down the sideline, picks up a block, and into the end zone. There are penalty markers down. Peoples-Jones looks like a block in the back. That appeared to be even obvious from way up here.
Wow. Nico Collins already has been knocked out of this game, and now Donovan Peoples-Jones takes a huge hit. I think you're right. They might get him for a block in the back, and then
Marcus Lewis is shaken up.
Marcus
from Maryland.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 9. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It still results in a 1st down. Timeout for injured player.
Well, Marcus Lewis and Donovan Peoples-Jones have a big collision here. You see the block in the back here from Peoples-Jones. That's clear. Excuse me, that contact is between Trey Watson, and that, to me, why is that not targeting? He hits with the crown of the helmet right on the chin of Donovan Peoples-Jones. We got to take a look at that.
This is a full media timeout.
Trey Watson has had a heck of a football game. He's been all over the place hitting people, but that one I think was a little bit dirty.
Back in Ann Arbor, 5 minutes to play here in the third quarter, and Michigan leading 20-7. There was a block in the back by Donovan Peoples-Jones. He was flagged for that, but in the end, he got the worst of the collision after the fact as Higdon runs down the sideline.
These are some of the most dangerous plays in football because you've got a lot of people moving in space, blocks happening, and sometimes people see hits coming and sometimes they don't. Peoples-Jones obviously did not see Trey Watson coming there, and Trey Watson lowers his head and hits him right in the jaw. I think that's pretty clear it's targeting.
Saw the mouthpiece go flying of Peoples-Jones. Here's the call.
After review, there are 2 fouls on the play. The block in the back that we already assessed. There was also a targeting foul on Maryland, number 33. Those fouls will offset. Number 33 will be disqualified for the targeting foul. We'll go back. The ball will be placed at the 43-yard line, first down and 10.
Trey Watson, the second defender for Maryland, kicked out of the game in this half for targeting. Todd, what did you see?
And Peoples-Jones is now the second Michigan receiver that's getting taken a look at in terms of the concussion protocol. I just saw him underneath the tent. The doctors are talking to him. I got to be honest, I'm no doctor, but he looks completely out of it. And you got to remember, Peoples-Jones is one of their top receivers. They've already lost Nico Collins, and we talked about the 2 guys that transferred in the offseason and Tariq injury in August. They are depleted at wide receiver.
Jim Blackwood is our rules official here in the booth with us. Jim, your thoughts on that?
That was definitely targeting all the way. You can see that the defender, after the push, he kind of held back, and then he got blindsided.
So, Jim, right there, by definition, he becomes a defenseless receiver when he puts his arms up.
He's just a defenseless player.
Defenseless player, yeah.
Not a receiver. And he just takes himself kind of out of the game when he holds his hands up. But then he gets blindsided, and therefore he gets hit to the head neck area. It's a targeting call. Yep. Good job of replay on that one.
That's a dangerous-looking hit.
It's rare. So Peoples-Jones is flagged for a block in the back, which could have shaken up one of the Maryland players, and then Peoples-Jones, the same player, is on the receiving end of the target. In essence, the penalty's offset, but Watson has been ejected from the game. Grant Perry from Michigan inside the 40-yard line.
A scary hit for Donovan Peoples-Jones. A little bit of good news for Michigan. Nico Collins coming out of the tunnel. Looks like he's back and ready to go. Those 2 may have passed in the tunnel.
Watson had 10 tackles prior to being ejected from the game. And there you see running Peoples-Jones through a battery of tests. We'll keep an eye on that. 4.5 to play here in the third. Michigan by 13 with the football. Higdon. Close. Antoine Brooks made the stop. It'll bring up a third down.
Well, this will continue to be challenging for Maryland defensively. You mentioned Antoine Brooks. He's their best remaining player at the linebacker position, but Trey Watson was making plays all over the field in this football game, and now he is out of the game. So Maryland defense certainly depleted.
3rd and 1, as you might expect. Ben Mason comes in. He's in front of Karan Higdon, who's 3 yards shy of 100. 2 tight end set for Michigan. Second man through is Higdon, and he squirts through for the first down. Behind the blocking of Ben Mason.
Maybe the biggest difference with Karan Higdon from last year to this year has been his ability to finish plays. He gets hit, and the yards after contact have really increased. Put on about 15 pounds in the offseason, but wanted to maintain his explosiveness, and he just has been a nose to finish over the first down line to gain consistently.
Maryland has converted 18 first down. Rather, Michigan has 18 first downs to just Maryland's 3. Not that time. True Wilson is rocked by who else but Antoine Brooks. Brooks comes up to make the stop for the loss. Brooks led Big Ten defensive backs, that nickel position, and tackles for loss last season. They got a tackle for loss right there.
And he's not afraid to take on these offensive linemen. That time it was Bredesen trying to block him on the edge. You watch him on tape, he will come up and hit you. 300 pounds or not, he's going to hit you.
So it's a loss of 2 on the play. Pressure up the middle. Patterson, elusive. Throwing on the run and completed. It's Peoples-Jones. I guess he's fine. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Touchdown, Michigan. 34 yards for the score.
Well, it's a great sign to see that Donovan Peoples-Jones is all right. I'm frankly shocked he's out there.
I agree. And we know Dr. McShay agrees as well.
There's a reason I didn't go to medical school.
Good to see him back. For Peoples-Jones, who's involved in so much, that's his first reception of the game. Extra point is good. 27-7 in favor of the Wolverines.
Here comes Peoples-Jones just on a little crossing route, and this is all Shea Patterson extending plays. Some acrobatics in the back end. He had a free rusher. This is what they get so excited about with Shea Patterson, his ability to create and to extend plays, and keeps his eyes downfield, gets the ball in the playmaker's hands, and he finishes.
Peoples-Jones leads Michigan in touchdowns and now has gone 4 consecutive games with a score. Donovan Peoples-Jones.
There's 2 areas of this Michigan offense that have kind of been maligned. And in the past couple of years, it's been the offensive line. They have come out today and they have owned the line of scrimmage, and they have protected Shea Patterson. The other one this year in particular has been playmakers at the wide receiver position. Todd mentioned Peoples-Jones having a hard time getting open in man-to-man coverage consistently early in the year, but both he and Nico Collins have stepped up and made plays today.
No magic that time by Ty Johnson. What a series that was for Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's going to be flagged there for the block in the back and then take the brunt of that targeting penalty by Trey Watson. And then on the receiving end, I don't know, just 2 plays, 3 plays, comes back and goes 30-plus down the sideline.
That's a tough character, right? That will endear you to your team. It will endear you to these fans. To show that kind of toughness.
You hear the crowd yelling. It's because they're reacting to Northwestern upsetting Michigan State.
That's an automatic here. That game over as we still have 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter after starting 70 minutes late here in Ann Arbor due to a weather delay. And Michigan will look to grind this out now, up by 20 late in the 3rd.
We haven't mentioned Chase Winovich's name very much in this football game. And I think it's only because Maryland doesn't throw the ball a whole lot. And Winovich is the premier pass rusher on this Michigan team. There you see him with the golden locks. Outstanding football player. Really a lot of fun to watch.
Fleet Davis trying to run away from some people like Josh Metellus.
And when they've thrown the ball, they've tried to roll away from Winovich's side, which makes all the sense in the world. But, you know, they've done a good job of keeping him out of the game plan, but it really has not been effective. Winovich, his tape, it was fun to watch with Grease. His hands, he reminds me of Joey Bosa a little bit with how great he's become at using his hands to get off blocks.
I just like the fact that he's gotten every ounce of ability out of himself. Came in and he was a linebacker, and then they moved him to offense. He played some tight end and fullback, and finally he lands at defensive end, and then he's overshadowed by Rashawn Gary, who's the #1 overall recruit coming in. All he's done is kept his head down. He's worked hard. He's got in the weight room and got as strong as he possibly can. He's learned from Greg Madison and others how to use his hands. He has become one of the preeminent players in the Big Ten at the defensive end position, all because of his effort.
Maryland able to pick up that last first down, their first first down in 39 minutes of playing time. Chase Winovich is involved in many charitable activities. Last year at the Orange Bowl, dyed his hair orange to raise money for the Chad Tuff Foundation. Took part in Michigan's Dancing with the Stars, raised another $143,000 for Chad Tuff. And this wasn't about charity. He's a huge fan of Conor McGregor. Imagine FaceTiming with McGregor. Chase Winovich did just that. And he's very excited about the fight tonight. Very pleased the game was supposed to start at noontime, but that's still not going to run into the big fight tonight. Conor McGregor and Khabib. Winovich is such a big fan, he said that Khabib has blocked him on Twitter because Winovich was giving him the business. So,
He's got a great personality.
McGregor?
No.
Oh, Winovich.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
I don't come down on the McGregor
Got it.
personality. I like Chase's mentality, and he's very charitably inclined, as you mentioned.
Yes.
One of the and that's been a staple of Michigan football for a long time.
And Todd was talking about his tape and certainly making improvements. There was some talk that Winovich would go to the NFL last year and make the move. And in fact, it was Shea Patterson who said, "Hey, if you stay, I will be your roommate." So they sort of worked out this kind of deal. And apparently Winovich wanted Patterson to be his roommate because he came back for another year.
I think it was good for both of them.
Yes, worked out nicely for both. They definitely need each other. The Fortnite thing has become a bit of an issue. Both guys are very competitive.
You know a kid has confidence when he does the Jim Harbaugh imitation.
Right.
He has the best Jim Harbaugh imitation on the team. And I asked him a couple of years ago if he would do it for us. He wouldn't do it, of course.
Yeah, of course not. Speaking of a couple of years ago, Winovich remembers you blasting him on a broadcast 2 years ago.
No.
He said it's his ringtone on his cell phone now. You criticizing his lack of size.
I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, you said I was too small, and this and that." But he didn't finish the sentence by saying that he gave great effort. Yes. He was a great player. So.
And quite frankly, this is not his kind of game when you can rush the passer. So he's not going to stand out on the stat sheet today, but still leading the way.
He's going to put you on his ringtone now. Can't play against the run league. Is that what you're saying?
No. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to college football, presented by Walmart. We open up quarter number 4. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, class of what?
97.
Class of 97. Are you lying about that?
No.
Okay. Well, you're making yourself younger. And Todd McShay on a dry afternoon anyway for McShay in Ann Arbor. Threw out the pair of shoes from a week ago at LSU. Here's Tavon Jacobs on the receiving end. 3rd down and short upcoming.
After that last time out to change a quarter, David Long came up a little bit to Gimpy. Here he is right here at the bottom of the screen. Didn't look like anything too serious, but he's not in the football game. And Brandon Watson, the 3rd corner out there now.
3rd down and 4, able to complete to Jayshon Jones. And this is an 8-play drive now from Maryland, their longest drive of the day.
You know, that injury to David Long, hopefully not serious. Michigan loves to play that tight man-to-man coverage. He's an integral piece of this team moving forward. See an incomplete pass there, miscommunication, but they've got some big games coming up. Wisconsin comes in here next Saturday night in prime time, and then they go on the road against Michigan State. So they're going to need David Long to play the kind of defense that they want to play, that man-to-man coverage. They need those cover corners, and Lavert Hill and David Long, 2 of the best.
I was talking to a scout before the game up in the press box, and he was saying, you know, Lavert Hill gets all the attention, number 24 on the opposite side, but I actually have a similar grade, maybe slightly better grade on Long.
Interesting. 2nd and 10. Back to McFarland. Lawrence Marshall made the stop. So Michael Dwumfor go out in the middle of that defensive line earlier in the game for Michigan.
Yeah, Dwumfor out of this football game. Aubrey Solomon, who was hurt earlier in the year. So they've lost a couple of pieces on that interior defensive line.
Maryland finally over 100 yards of offense a minute into the 4th quarter. He's going to be short. David Long back in there to make the big stop to prevent him from getting the first down. Long will get up slowly again.
They finally got Chase Winovich. This is what that jet sweep action will do. You wonder, why do they do all this stuff? Watch how it neutralizes Winovich. They don't even have to block him, and they get around him.
4th and 1. Maryland tried to go fast, and they were flagged for a motion penalty.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That's Marcus Minor. That's tough on 4th and 1. You're trying to go fast.
Well, that's 5 or 6 procedure penalties on Maryland, and I get it. I mean, they're going to have more procedure penalties than most teams in college football, but 5 penalties now in procedure, that's way too many.
10 for the game for 94 yards. With this offense, they're going the wrong way. They have barely over 100 yards total offense and penalized 94 yards. 4th and 6, gotta go. Hill throws and is caught for the first down. DJ Turner, welcome to the ball game.
Anthony McFarland there, number 5, does a great job. He actually cut down his split, and he knew he had to get protection. He did a great job picking up Winovich coming off the edge.
Maryland trying to go fast again, and some more flags come in. Looks like this time it could be against Michigan. See if somebody jumped offside. Lawrence Marshall made the stop.
Offside defense. Player was in the neutral zone as he was coming in as a sub. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That too was Marshall, so he got the benefit. And then the penalty. Thirteenth play of this drive upcoming for Maryland. Started at their own 25, and they have, let's say, methodically moved down the field. Trying to make it a 2-score game. That's Ty Johnson in motion. They hand it to him, and he'll be short of the goal line. Metellus made the stop. 2nd and goal.
And that last formation from Matt Canada looked like Georgia Tech's offense with 2 wings and a B-back. And Ty Johnson comes up a little bit gimpy. That is not a good sign. As we mentioned, in practice, they lost Lorenzo Harrison to a knee this past week. Jake Funk has already been out for a while with a broken hand. And now Ty Johnson, their leading rusher, on the turf. It's reminiscent of the issues they had at quarterback, losing 3 guys last year.
Yes, the starting 2 quarterbacks went down in the first 9 quarters, and their season unraveled at that point last season. We'll be right back.
Cassidy Hubbard with your studio update. The Red River Showdown was wild. Texas led by as much as 21, but the Sooners came back to tie it. Cameron Dicker from 40 yards out to give the Longhorns a lead. Back to you guys.
What a thriller there. You know, Texas there makes that Maryland victory even more impressive. Yep. Here come the Terps. 2nd down and goal. Did he get there? No signal. Looked like he's short. It's Hill, the quarterback, of the keeper.
It certainly looked like Kasim Hill reached that football out over the across the plane in the end zone. Let's take a look from this great angle. Yeah, there's the ball. Looked like it was over the plane of the goal line. The linesman had a good view of it.
I think they're going to take a look. We'll see if they buzz down in time. You think Maryland would take their time? They're going to snap it. On the ground for the touchdown. It's Javon Leak. 15th play on a drive that started from their own 25. And the first touch of the day for Javon Leak is a touchdown to make it a 2-score game.
Yeah, look at that. Just kind of looks like that Georgia Tech offense. A couple of wings. It's just a different way of getting to the option. You can hand it to the halfback. Certainly Hill could keep it, or you can run that jet sweep of Leak and easy walk into the end zone.
There's Joseph Petrino, who's perfect on the season. Don't believe in jinxes. Oh, little star step. Had to stop and start, and still able to boot through the extra point. Take a look at our unexpected outcome, brought to you by ExxonMobil. Jayshon Jones had, I would say, an explosive start to his college career. This is the first time as a true freshman he touches the football, okay? Against Texas, 28-yard touchdown run. Second time he touched the football, he caught a 65-yard touchdown pass. And the third time he ever touched the football, a 20-yard touchdown pass he throws to Tavon Jacobs. How about that? What a way to start a career. They've gone back in the annals. We've gone back 20 years. No one's done that. First game, first 3 touches. Marcus Mariota did have a similar, but it wasn't in his very first college game. And of course, did it against Texas. Texas just won that football game. But the Longhorns,
it's all downhill from there.
But where do you go, right?
Yeah, gosh.
What a start, though, to a college career. Unexpected outcome. Brought to you by ExxonMobil.
And if you're wondering, in this game, he has 1 reception for 8 yards.
Well, they shut him down after that. 27-14. It feels like Michigan's up 30.
It does. Just because of that defense.
Ambry Thomas up the middle to the 18-yard line. Tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC, Notre Dame heads into one of the best atmospheres in college football. Be at Lane Stadium, take on Virginia Tech. Should be awesome there. And you have to think Notre Dame is in the picture for the college football playoff. Sports Center tonight, Bucci and Stan, they'll have a post-fight breakdown. Habib and McGregor, everybody talking about the battle in Las Vegas, the biggest moments from college football, and highlights from games 2 in Houston and Boston. Sports Center after Utah and Stanford on ESPN tonight.
You got to think that Notre Dame is a big Michigan fan now. After that first win of the season, they hope Michigan goes through the Big Ten schedule and competes for the Big Ten championship. Certainly help their cause. And Josh Jackson, you know, the quarterback for Virginia Tech, who grew up here in Ann Arbor, right across the street, went to Pioneer High School, and is the son of former running back coach, longtime running back coach here at Michigan, Fred Jackson.
Fred was here when you were here?
Yep. He's been here for everybody. Unfortunately, he's not going to play in that game tonight because he's injured.
Patterson throwing and completing to Zach Gentry. That's his 7th catch. He's over 100 yards receiving as well. Hickens over 100 yards rushing. Again, the numbers today just scream Michigan.
I give a lot of credit to Zach Gentry. You know, you mentioned he comes from New Mexico. He was a pretty highly recruited kid coming out. Texas wanted him. He decided to come here to Michigan to play for Jim Harbaugh, one of the first signees that Jim Harbaugh got. And it hasn't worked out at quarterback, but he made the move to tight end. And he's figured that out. Now he's contributing to this offense in meaningful ways.
Patterson, all sorts of time off the play fake, and now look to scoot out of there. Able to make some people miss. Close to the first down. It's a gain of 8.
So you wonder why this whole Michigan team loves True Wilson. Well, let me tell you why they love him. Just watch number 13. He doesn't have the football. He's just going to pick up the blitz. That's the best linebacker for Maryland, by the way. I got one down. Let me go get another. Let me get a little piece of that defensive lineman. Get him on the ground, too. That's why they love True Wilson.
A great effort play to continue to drive him to the ground. He's playing till the whistle. There's no doubt about that. 2nd down and 2 now. Patterson, little sidearm throw, able to complete to Ronnie Bell. Well, this summer, the Michigan football team went on a trip to Paris and then bus to the D-Day beaches in Normandy. Harbaugh called it a powerful and profound day, one he hopes his players will remember forever. True Wilson brought back a vial of sand and a flag for his dad, a recently retired U.S. Marine. Wilson said it really puts it in perspective, shows the raw emotion they were going through at the time of fighting for something that's really bigger than they are. It's amazing what they did. All these great kids come from military families too, right? Yes, sir. No, sir. Right?
Yep.
On the ground. Here's Wilson. His timing is impeccable. True Wilson down the sideline. Darnell Savage forced him out, and the crowd goes. They're not booing, they're saying true.
Well, listen, you make a trip to Normandy and you're thoughtful enough to do that, bring a foul back for your dad, and give him some love. Let him get some carries.
28 yards on the play.
Awesome. He's a junior out of De La Salle High School right here in Detroit, Warren, Michigan. And you can tell he plays a lot of heart.
And he walked on, of course.
Yep.
And then was awarded a scholarship this past fall. All going in the right direction for True Wilson and Michigan. 8.5 to go here in the fourth. It's Wilson again, giving Higdon the breather here on this series.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Karan Higdon, 30 carries last week, another 25 carries and over 100 yards in this game. And I think Jim Harbaugh and the offensive staff are very content to keep him out of the game and let the rest of this game be True Wilson's.
You see True Wilson, you got to look inside his helmet. Is that a style? Is that fashion? Only one eye black underneath one eye? That's tape now, right? They don't really use the ink anymore, right? High tech. Yeah. I'm guessing that, well, the other one fell off is my guess. Not about the fashion. It's True Wilson. They'll give him a few yards in forward progress. We wind down to 7.5 left here. 2-score football game.
Look at his nameplates coming off the back of the jersey.
This guy's a mess. Speaking of messes, let's clean up after ourselves, okay? Fowler and Herb Street like a clean booth, and they will be here next Saturday night.
I'm not cleaning up for those guys. I'm cleaning up because it's the right thing to do.
Oh, I see.
It's Michigan.
Got it. Take care of your own. I got it. That'll be an actual night game next Saturday night. Wisconsin comes calling. That'll be great. Saturday night prime time on ABC. Patterson looking to get out of there. Buys himself some time. It's True Wilson, and the flags fly. Face mask. Let's see if there are 2 infractions there.
Yeah, there's definitely two fouls. One flag came out right after the snap, and then a very clear face mask from Isaiah Davis. We've had some dangerous plays in this game. A couple of targetings.
There's 2 fouls on the play, both against the defense. Holding, defense, penalties decline. Personal foul, face mask, defense number 22. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Isaiah Davis has been in the middle of everything for Maryland. The face mask against him.
This has been an impressive drive here from Michigan. This is a 2-score game. It's a 13-point game. You know, there's enough time left. If they would have come out 3-and-out and punt after Maryland went down and scored on the last possession, then all of a sudden you may have a ball game. But this offense has taken this game, taken the life out of this game by running the ball with True Wilson.
3 touchdowns in the last 4 possessions for Michigan. The other possession was a field goal, so they're getting points. Patterson to Jared Wangler for the score. Fullback on the receiving touchdown.
Well, you got to feel good for Jared Wangler, the 5th-year senior, the son of the great Johnny Wangler, the legendary quarterback here at Michigan. He's put his time in. He has played all kind of positions on this team. Special teams guy, fullback, and finally gets a touchdown catch in this game. It was a great catch going to the ground.
Last week, he had the first touch of his career. 5th-year senior. First time he touches the football a week ago, and here he gets the receiving touchdown. 3rd touchdown pass of the game for Shea Patterson. And Jim Harbaugh is going for 2.
Maryland only has 10 guys out on the field.
And the whistles. Higdon was back in for the two-point conversion.
Maryland, they're first. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Maryland only had 9 guys out on the field. Smart to time out there. Here's the touchdown. Your Wangler, you got to avoid that defensive end. Nice job. And then make sure you get in the end zone so when you fall and catch it, you don't come up on the 1-yard line.
Right.
You get a touchdown.
Right. Now, I do love those stories. I love the stories. We tell them every week, right? The walk-on kid who is awarded the scholarship, or the fifth-year guy who doesn't transfer, hangs around, eventually gets the opportunity. You know, for us, we're watching another touchdown. For him, that's a life story he will tell forever. And we'll probably play the clip of this conversation on it as well.
Well, and it's always, hey, you're Johnny Wangler's kid, you know? And finally, you know, he came here with designs to want to be a linebacker, play some defense, and now he's had an opportunity to get in there and play some meaningful snaps. This is not just garbage stuff, because he's a meaningful part of this offense, along with Ben Mason. He's the other fullback on the team.
Wangler and Mason are both in there for the two-point conversion. It's Mason time. Making it look easy. Nobody wants a piece there of Ben Mason.
I mean, that's a big boy. That's a big man. 6'3", 255 pounds. And he can run. You can see it. He's got some vision, some cuts. And he's going to get more looks as the season goes on. Trust me.
I do. I trust you with everything I have. Homecoming weekend at Michigan. And the Wolverines now having their way with the Terps.
College football on ABC is presented by Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. In part by Pacific Life, experience the power of Pacific. And the new 2019 Ford Edge, featuring new Ford Co-Pilot 360 technology.
Fried ice cream? You ever had fried ice cream? Adam Schefter's fried ice cream. That's all at the Brown Jug, named after the Michigan-Minnesota football trophy. Most items on the menu named after famous Wolverine alumni, so Jalen Rose, Charles Woodson, Schefter, and Jim Harbaugh's got a meatball sandwich. Chad Henne has a pulled chicken sandwich. Desmond Howard has a meat lover's pizza. Still looking for a Brian Greasy. Maybe it's the last name, right? A greasy sandwich, you know, it'd be hard to do, right?
No, it'd be easy. It's just a greasy hamburger. I mean, what's better than that?
Hey, Brian, so we had, as you might see here, we had a Tom Brady sandwich at halftime, and then all of a sudden, we did not.
Yeah, we didn't even get to taste it.
This guy right here, see Marty Aronoff?
Marty.
How was the Tom Brady sandwich? Adequate.
Marty, you eat the props up here, you know? We got nothing to show the people at home.
Our legendary statistician, Marty Aronoff, in the big house, having a Tom Brady sandwich. Have yourself a day, Marty. On the ground with Anthony McFarland. We believe he is the next special player in this Maryland offense. He represents the future. He can do some things. He's got the skills, and he's sort of sitting behind Ty Johnson right now. But the redshirt freshman, he's got some unique abilities.
This is a good offense, and they've got a veteran offensive line. They were overmatched today with this Michigan defense, but a lot of offenses are going to be overmatched against this defense. But they're going to surprise some people the remainder of their schedule.
Terrell Pigram in the game at quarterback for Maryland as we send it back to Cassie.
Florida State and Miami right now over on ESPN News. DeAndre Francois to Keith Gavin to put the Noles on the board first, 7-0. As soon as Maryland, Michigan wraps up, FSU Miami will move over to ABC, guys.
All right. Thank you, Cass. Again, we had the late start here. We started 70 minutes late. Weather delay. Anthony McFarland on the receiving end. Forced that a bounce. 5.5 to go here in the fourth. Michigan now starting to pull away from Maryland, 35-14.
This will be a great win for Michigan. I thought they'd be challenged in this football game, and they were challenged early with the kick return for a touchdown, but everybody knows that the tests are coming for Michigan. And this next month of the season, are really going to be where this team is made or broken. And Wisconsin certainly next week, and then a road trip to Michigan State, despite the fact they lost to Northwestern today. That's always a tough game.
How about the slow starts? Are they concerning to you? Grease, the slow start last week at Northwestern, and being on the road is a little different, but they spun their wheels offensively here early on today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that you have to address, and like certainly against a team like Ohio State or Wisconsin, you cannot afford to go down 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. So it's definitely an area for this Michigan team to improve. It's Carlo Kemp.
All right, we're going to step aside right now and send you over to ABC News for this update.
Good afternoon, Washington. Have a good day.
As Brandon Watson returns the pick 6 for the score for Michigan.
This fourth quarter has been about these fifth-year seniors making plays. Wangler catches a touchdown from the fullback position, and now it's fifth-year senior Brandon Watson steps in front of the Kasim Hill throw and returns the pick 6 for a touchdown.
Watson got his first career interception at Notre Dame. Has another pick here for the return and the score. Maryland's first turnover of the game produces a 46-yard return for the touchdown. Extra point is through. And it's going to be a happy homecoming weekend for these Wolverines. Laying it on thick on Maryland. 42-14 Wolverines.
Tank is back.
I believe I mentioned it was homecoming weekend a few times. Doris English, class of 1948. What class were you in again, Chris?
97.
Oh, 97. Got it. And she's playing in the alumni band. How cool is this? They have so many great traditions.
That is really cool. I didn't know they did that.
A lot of them not having to do with football, but many involving the football program.
I love that, though.
Yes.
Do you know the significance of 1948 and 1997?
Does that have to do with Michigan?
Yes. And national championships.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's 50 years, right? So Doris and I have something in common.
Yes, you do. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
Well, it was the Karan Higdon show early in this football game. He had over 100 yards rushing, 25 attempts.
Yeah, only 25 carries. It took it easy on him today.
And the workhorse, yeah.
After having 30 a week ago.
And then a really nice game for Shea Patterson. 3 touchdowns. He pushed the ball down the field. He got Donovan Peoples-Jones involved, Nico Collins involved, Gentry from the tight end position. I thought he was very efficient after that first mistake on the interception in the first half.
Yep. See what Maryland can do here. On the ground and down to Todd.
You guys touched on the schedule upcoming and some of the big games they have starting with Wisconsin. I thought this was the best game that Shea Patterson has played. And the reason I say that is he stayed inside the pocket. He trusted his protection. He was going through reads without having some of that anxiousness that we saw in some of the other tapes when we studied preparing for this game. They're going to need this version of Shea Patterson moving forward. And it's not always going to be as clean. He's not always going to have as much time in the pocket. But when he does, he's got to be able to take advantage and stay patient like he did today.
Pigram, the ball carrier, and he has first down yardage. When talking about Patterson, the coaches told us, Pep told us, look, he's not going to go through his progressions every time. First option, second option, third option. But he's a playmaker. Yeah. He's got that special ability, that special talent. And you can win with players like that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Shea Patterson came from Ole Miss, and it was interesting talking with him when he watched the Michigan-Ohio State game last year.
Yes.
He was hurt and not playing for Ole Miss. He's watching the game, and he said, gosh, if Michigan only had a little bit more of a playmaker at the quarterback position, they might have been able to play in that game, and he thought he could be the answer. Now, we'll see. Time will tell. He's got to get better. Yes, I agree with both of you that a playmaker can add some juice to your offense, but at the same time, you have to eliminate the mistakes that come from being wild out there too at times. And so he has to learn to play within the system. I think the thing that will help Shea Patterson more than anything, more than this system, more than any of that, is Karan Higdon, and turning and being able to hand the ball to a good back with a solid offensive line. The reason Michigan has not been able to win their rivalry games under Jim Harbaugh is because they haven't had that solid offensive line to control the line of scrimmage. And that's what needs to happen, much more so than a Shea Patterson.
On the ground, Pigram running right up the middle. Tyrell Pigram. And he'll be brought down at the 22-yard line.
It's good to see Tyrell Pigram out there. I mean, it's just good to see these quarterbacks from Maryland healthy. This is what he brings to the table. He's much better of a runner than Kasim Hill. And those two, as this season goes on, I think the 1-2 combination of those two guys will continue to be a part of the plan for Matt Canada.
Again, Maryland got off to a pretty good start last season, and then they lose their top 2 quarterbacks in the first 9 quarters of the season. Actually won another game, but didn't win after that. On the ground, Fleet Davis stepped out of bounds. We'll see where they mark him. They'll mark him down at the 5.
Yeah, they went to 3-1, I think, to start the season, and then they finished 1-7, and it was all about the injuries. See that clearly? Steps out there, and the question now is with Ty Johnson, right? With the loss of Lorenzo Harrison, now we saw Ty Johnson go out of this game earlier. And he's back in there. He's okay.
First down and goal. Ball, Pigram faking everyone out into the end zone for the touchdown. Tyrell Pigram. And I have that as his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Again, that diamond formation where you're going to make the defense declare and kind of run the option, the inside dive, and then to the outside with the quarterback.
So, Grease, Maryland fans are sitting on the couch saying, hey, where was this all game? Why can't we do this all game?
It's called intensity.
So Michigan has taken their foot off the gas a little bit.
Just
with the outstanding lead here today, blowing things open here in the 4th quarter. So they won the snap it for the extra point.
Delay a game, kicking team. 5-yard penalty, play the try.
If you tell me they did that on purpose because Petrino wants a better angle at the extra point, that's it.
No, our director, Mike Schwab, said they didn't have enough guys, so that's why I'm showing you McLean coming in.
Actually, that's been a problem today. Getting the right number of people on the field, that's been an issue for Maryland. Out of the hold of Wade Lee. Puts it through. Max Bordenschlager was the 3rd-string quarterback and the holder. He's done for the season after having ankle surgery. We'll be right back. We're sort of flossing. There it is. Give it to me, Sparky.
Look at that.
That's taking the floss to a new level.
Well, he was doing the floss before we came on. Then the music changed, and you got to change your move when the music changes.
Anybody who dances knows you have to do that.
Charge timeout, Michigan. They're first. Be a 30-second timeout.
Take a look at this week's college football rankings. Subject to change as always. Brought to you by Capital One.
Well, we know the top spot ain't changing. 65 more points for Tua and company.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Every week.
West Virginia, Todd. What do you think about West Virginia creeping into the top 10? They beat Kansas 38-22. I think they're legit.
Yeah, they've earned it. They're really well coached defensively. Obviously, they don't have the personnel, but they've gotten better defensively this year, which was the big question.
Hey, Todd, I know you saw the Falika tweet, the Bear, as he's known. In the last 4 years, 17 ranked teams lost to unranked teams on the first Saturday in October.
Yep. Wow.
There are 17 games today between ranked and unranked teams. So on average, there should be 4 ranked teams that go down. So it's not going to happen here. 15th ranked Michigan. I should point out that Adam Daly on our crew, he pointed out, Grease, that Michigan's won 1 national championship in the last 70 years.
Is it a coincidence that he's an Ohio State grad?
Is it factual? Is it factual or not?
Everything I've sent him this week about positive Michigan stats, Daly sent back a counter.
And very cool, Grease, that you are the one in the 1 in 70 years. Wow, Brian, I thought you underthrew this one a little bit myself.
Really?
60% completion rate, 251 yards.
That was as far as I could throw it right there. That was all I had, 58 yards.
And the Rose Bowl MVP honors.
You know, they honored Mike Gittleson today, who was the very first strength and conditioning coach here, and he was a big part of that team. Started in the 70s under Bo Schembechler and really revolutionized the game of the strength and conditioning position. I was really happy to see them rename the weight room after Mike Gittleson. There's a great shot of Mike after the Rose Bowl game. Great human being, you know, served our country in Vietnam and then came back, and really initially he just wanted to find a place to work out.
Sure.
So he came over.
A free gym membership.
Yeah, and Bo hired him, and he went on to be one of the more influential figures in Michigan program history.
We believe he's one of the first, if not the first, college football strength and conditioning coach. And now all those guys look the same, right? They all have the goatee, the shaved head, wear khakis, and probably shirts that are just a little too small for them. Well, but if you go to a strength and conditioning meeting, right, a convention, those guys all look the same. It's amazing. Shout out to my pal Jim Malone, who's the strength and conditioning coach of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he looks exactly as I described. He knows.
Well, we always have to end the day by saying thanks, Mike, because after we do every workout, you know, after we do every run, we would always end with the whole team would come up and he'd say something and we'd say thanks, Mike. So thanks, Mike, for all you've done for Michigan.
Well done, Grease. And well done by the Wolverines today. Chris and Kirk and Maria will take over the big house next Saturday night when Wisconsin comes calling for the primetime game on ABC.
What a great game that will be, right? Jonathan Taylor and company, Alex Hornibrook. Should be a fantastic primetime game.
Terrific test for the Wolverines 1 week from tonight. Final score here in Ann Arbor, 42-21. Homecoming weekend for Michigan, a success for our entire crew. Led by Josh Hoffman and Mike Schwab. I'm Steve Lee. Up next, an Oregon State Showdown, Florida State, Miami. Next.